Hello and welcome back to the Goat Cave podcast. Today's episode, I'm super excited for. Things are actually a little bit different today because this isn't about BMX. The Goat Cave has always been a BMX podcast, and today we actually are outnumbered. We have two wood pushers with us. We've got Scott Last, right?
Loyst.
Loyst. There we go. You know what's so funny? I am so bad with everybody's fucking names on this show. I always butcher names. And even last night, Taylor went to university for English, so she's really good with that kind of shit. So I'm like, okay, what does this say? She's like, Loyst. I did it a couple times. Still fucked it up. And then we have Nathan Weens, good friend of mine. He's going to come co-host this. He had a part in Space Goats, the skater goat part. It was pretty great.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, today... our guest is a skateboarder. He is best known for his skate park blog website that just passed 1,000 parks, spots, and shops logged across Canada and the U.S. He holds the world record for the most skate parks ridden in one day at 50 parks. When he isn't traveling to parks for his website, he is at the city development meetings helping the community create skate parks, or even saving your life during his day job as a paramedic. Today is about skate parks and the amazing community behind the scenes, and I'm super excited to say we are speaking with none other than Scott Loyst, aka Spot the Looney. Scott, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. I am going to jump up and turn these lights on. I always forget to do that, so just give me 1 second here. Why don't you tell us about how you got into skateboarding while I do this?
Okay. The skateboard, how I got their story was originally from the Kitchener-Waterloo area. When my family and I moved out to Toronto, there was, as I always call it, the cool teens down the street had skateboards. This would have been about 1988, 89. So big boards, janky ramps that they had, and I was like a little 6 or 7 year old kid riding around on my knee, but they were nice enough. Oh, I have to cough a whole bunch. They let me ride the ramps with them, and that kind of just developed. Always had a board around. Didn't really do a lot with it, but then right around when I was 13 or 14, my friend picked up the first popsicle stick board. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a skateboard. I want to skateboard with my friend. So I ended up with one, and that was right about the same time that the X Games started.
Oh, wow.
So it was easy to kind of follow along with progression and follow the sport.
Yeah, especially when everything's kind of developing like that, you know?
Yeah, so I was old enough to be unsupervised through the summers, so it would be stay up till midnight, wake up at 11, watch Price is Right, and then X Games on TSN.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have that Price is Right.
Of course.
Hell yeah. Nathan, why don't you tell us about how you got into skateboarding?
I got into skateboarding because I grew up in Kitchener-Waterloo the same, and I think when I was 7 or 8, we moved out to the countryside, middle of nowhere. There was nothing to do, and we took over a little roundabout and built our own skate park. And it was just something to do, something that we could kind of make our own. You didn't need a team or an opposing team to play against. Never really got into team sports or anything. So it was just something to do.
Hell yeah.
And kind of grew from that.
Yeah, and then your brother, Nick, actually is one of my best friends. He's a BMX rider. He had a part in the video as well. Both videos, actually, that I've made. But he started out skating before BMX, correct?
He actually started out as a skateboarder as well until he was rolling his ankles left, right, and center and kind of needed something that he could walk away from at the end of the day.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think it's so cool that you guys are brothers, and that's something that you guys were able to do together in a community that didn't have anything, And I love the fact, I don't know if you've ever seen their DIY park that they had built. It was really fucking cool. It was literally just at the end of a roundabout that didn't have any houses developed around it yet. And you guys had worked with the township to basically make it allowed, It was something that a lot of people weren't into, but
it was a long process. I think over the 5 or 6 years that we had the park around, it was torn down a handful of times. The city was constantly fighting with us until we learned how to build better ramps, and then they left us alone until they eventually got their own skate park out there.
Yeah, and you guys went to a lot of the development meetings for that as well, right?
We were a big part of the committee. We did a lot of the fundraising for the skate park, and we didn't really have much of a say in the actual designing of the features. That was we had the opportunity, and they kind of went over our heads and did it themselves.
Yeah.
But they did eventually get a prefab park, which is all right. It's something for the kids.
It's better than nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And it is something where you do have to take into account that the city is held liable for the ramps, right? So unfortunately, you can't have like the park that you guys had built 1,000 times better than the park that they got from the prefab stuff. But yeah, it is just something that kind of happens, right? Like the city has to do something with it. And if they're not willing to fund it and put enough money into it, then yeah, it's kind of what you end up with.
Yep.
But yeah, can you remember, you said the first board that you had was...
I don't even know. It was probably something that my parents got me from Toys R Us.
Yeah. And then, do you know what your first, like, real skateboard was that you bought?
So the first Lollipop was a Hogtown shop board.
Nice.
Then the first one that I really remember having was a mystery deck. And that was probably right around 2006 when I did the cross country to BC and back.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then first board that you had? Like first true board?
My first like actual setup was it was a Chris Cole Zero board.
Nice.
Back when he was still on Zero.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about Hogtown there, I don't know if many people will know this. Definitely the younger kids won't know this, but Hogtown was a shop in Toronto that unfortunately closed down, did it not?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. I remember going in there when I first started riding BMX, and like that was when they had like the green watermelon bike, like the Sunday one. I don't know if you guys know who Aaron Ross is.
Yep.
But he has like the pink rims with the green, like neon green frame fork bar. That was like such a big thing back then. And I remember seeing the frame there. I was like, wow, I would love to have that. And now it's like all my bikes are pretty much blacked out or very, very dark colors.
Yeah. Back in the day, Hogtown had 2 locations, so
Oh, wow.
we picked up my thing from the east one.
Okay. Yeah, there was one like right downtown.
Yeah.
Was there not? Yeah, it was like you had to go down a set of stairs to get to it as well, which is funny because when you go to So Hip It Hurts, like you have to go up like 2
Upstairs.
flights of stairs.
That is such a cool skate shop. I haven't been there since they changed ownership, but
I wonder if they still give out some paps every
PBRs
$80.
is every $80.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd hope so. Yeah, that's awesome. So who were some of the skaters that you looked up to when you were growing up?
I don't want to say Tony Hawk right off the bat, but he was obviously the one that was well shown on TV. So saw him. One of the names that I remember on street was Rodillo de El Rato Jr. Someone's probably going to correct my pronunciation of that, I'm sure, but Mike V. I really didn't start studying more of skateboarding until I was closer to my 20s, college era. And that's when they started building skate parks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that it wasn't that long ago that skate parks weren't a thing, eh?
Yeah.
You had mentioned you did something across Canada. So what did you do there? I didn't actually see anything about that.
No, so I have a friend who her brother was living in Vancouver, and she would go on a yearly road trip to go visit him, come back. She invited me along one time, and I just go, so can we stop at skate parks along the way? She said, sure. So we roped in another skater that rode for Perception, a shop in Scarborough at the time. So we packed it into a Honda Civic 2-door with a ton of camping gear because we spent half our time like B&Bs and campgrounds. And we hit 22 skate parks in 21 days going across Canada, Vancouver Island and back.
That's
Wow.
sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that you did, 22 in 21 days.
Yeah.
And then it's like, a couple years later, you've done 50 in a day.
Yeah, that was kind of the start of counting skate parks.
Yeah.
Like I've been to Cummer in Toronto. I'd done Shred Central when I was on inlines for a while. And it was after that, it's like, oh, there's this. Oh, there's a website that shows this company's particular places. Okay, what's within an hour of Toronto? What can I go hit? So I would hit everything I could.
Yeah, Cummer Park's actually a lot of fun. I know a lot of people that absolutely hate Cummer Park, but I love it. It's really cool.
I think it's really poorly designed,
Yeah.
but I can still
absolutely.
have fun there.
Yeah. It's really fun on a bike. I think that's the big difference is that like it is really interesting that you do see that, where like things can be so good on a BMX bike but be terrible on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Whereas like that Fisher Park that they built that, we were talking about earlier, it's terrible for a bike. Like you can ride the bowl, you can ride like the A-frame rail, but like anything on the other side where, because it's shaped like a baseball diamond for people that don't know. Um, Anything that's like on the one side of it is pretty much just not grindable on a bike. It's not peg height,
Mm-hmm.
and like still a good park, still a lot of fun, but like it's so weird that things can be designed like that, you know? It's great for skateboards. Like the whole skate community loves that park. Same with Waterloo Park. It's definitely a
Waterloo's a lot
lot.
of fun.
Waterloo is a park that's really good for both BMX and skate, I would say.
Yeah, Waterloo's great if you're alone. Dangerous if you get a few more people there.
Oh, absolutely. It's like it's a snake pit. I'll pull up a photo of that park actually right now.
Once you get the summer camps or once you get the scooter camps in the summer and you show up at like 4 or 5 and there's 30 kids just training around the park, it gets a little hectic, but
Yeah, it's so weird. So when did scooters start to be a thing? Because you've been around for quite a while.
The Razor scooter came out in 2001. And I know this because my dad had a shop and we were able to get, he had a store and was able to buy through different distributors. So we did have, my brother and I had like the fold up ones just
I
to get from
remember
point
those.
A to point B. I never tail whipped one, but I was also skating and just found that was like an easy way. You could fold it up, hop on the transit and unfold it when you got off and ride the rest of the way to your house. But they were horrible for going over anything.
Yeah. So here, I'll pull up this photo. Here, one second. I gotta turn that off.
those were the ones where like the handlebars came out too and they were
Yeah.
on like the little elastic strings. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So we were talking about Waterloo Park earlier. This is Waterloo Park, and this is actually taken from your website, Scott Dreams of Skate Parks, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here, I'll just, go through the photos here. This park actually came out right when I first started getting into BMX. And it's pretty fucking cool. It's an awesome park if you're there alone or with like, under 5 people. It's like you could do 10 if you're all there together. If
Yeah.
you're like,
If everyone's coordinated.
yeah, as long as everybody's coordinated. And it's like it's a lot of fun. On a bike you go a lot faster though. Oh, this is kind of cool. You've got like a photo of basically what it's like above.
Yeah, I took that from In the Center Planter and actually got the photos developed back when people did that.
Oh, wow.
Put it together and then took a picture of the pictures.
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah, a really fun park. I wasn't involved in any of the planning of this. Like they used to have a really shitty park over there. I don't know if you ever remember that,
Oh,
Nathan.
that little 10 park was a blast. Everything was like that plastic wood stuff. You could
Yeah.
slide anything for days.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to all that stuff. I'm like, I wish they would,
I thought I had heard that they had auctioned it off because I'm pretty sure. I thought I heard that somebody had some of those old boxes and like the old picnic table at their place at some point. It's probably been trashed by now, but
Yeah. Who knows? I think when it comes to building your own ramps or like having a backyard ramp or a basement ramp like this guy right here, you have to do something that's like made for yourself, You
Yeah.
can buy that stuff. I'm sure it's great. I bet it's super fun, but yeah, let's talk about your backyard or sorry, not your backyard, your basement ramp. How did you get this started? This blew my mind when I saw photos of this.
So I'd been doing the skate park blog. I'd gotten well over 100 skate parks at that point, and we were looking for a new house. We wanted to move out of our townhouse, so we were searching. We found a place. We went into the open house, and as we're walking in, this family's leaving. They're like, I don't like it. And like, all right, house looks good. We go down in the basement, and I just see a completely unfinished basement with one side that's all storage, and it's empty, and it's just a blank slate. So we won the bid, and we got the house, and I just started designing so that when I started building, I knew exactly what I was doing.
that's awesome.
Yeah, this is like super fucking cool, man. I love that you have this like vert wall in your basement.
Yeah.
And it's actually more than just a vert wall, which is really cool. So I'll show that in a second, but
Yeah, so the back wall is 4 feet transition, 3 feet of actual vert. It goes over what I call the fireplace, which I rebuilt sometime in the first year that we had it. The mini ramp is about 18 inches with 4-foot transitions.
Yeah.
So it's not complex. It's not hard. The ceiling's unfinished. So fortunately, I just by sheer coincidence, it's built so that if I were to stand up, my head goes between the joists.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to fucking ride a bike in there, but there's no way. Like, it's so small, there's no way. But my buddy Jordan, he actually owns the company Ride and Ramp Co. So I don't
Yep.
know if you know Bonifacio at all.
I don't know him, but I listened to both of the episodes
Yeah.
that he was on, like ramp building.
Oh my God,
it gets
incredible.
me going. Like
Yeah.
watching that. I've been to the yard.
Yeah, the
so
yard's
I've
incredible.
seen his work.
He also built the bowl at All In Skate Park. I helped build that. I don't know if you've been to All In.
Want to take me?
Oh man, absolutely. It's incredible there. Like that bowl is covered in masonite. It's the best. I would say it's honestly the best bowl if you're a transition skater. And when we go there, I have a fucking place to take you. And you've been there. You know, I'm talking about, of course, the one and only Chicken Bowl. Have you ever heard of the Chicken Bowl?
I've heard of this chicken bowl.
Yeah, the Chicken Bowl. So my buddy Kevin, he owns a chicken farm. How I met him is my dad. He's a tattoo artist, and he actually started doing tattoos on Kevin and his wife and his kid. And you know, they got talking, and Kevin's a skater. My dad's a skater. So you know, they instantly started bonding about that. And you know, I went there when I was super, super young. And never really went there for a couple more years, and then we went twice last year, and it was incredible both times. Like it's a actual, like I would say 5 foot, maybe 6 foot bowl, probably
It's about a
6 foot.
6 foot bowl,
Yeah, it's 6 foot like bowl, and it has like pool coping all along it. It's built by East Coast Ramps, so if you know those guys, they helped build like you know the first episode of Viva La Bam.
Okay.
Where they built the ramps like
In the house?
Yeah, they helped build all of that. It's like I know that they're affiliated with Tim Glom, who is like
He was the big builder on that show.
yeah. So yeah, incredible. Those guys did an amazing job. He spent like 12 grand and put it in his barn, and it is like honestly, you would have no fucking clue that that is seriously one of the best bowls I would say in Ontario. It's a wooden bowl.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and because it's private too, it's so fun. Like, you know, you just know when you get there that not a lot of people get this opportunity. But yeah, we'll absolutely, if you're interested, I will absolutely take you there.
Let me fix up.
Yeah, we'll wait till you're healed up there. But anyways, what I was talking about with Jordan is that Jordan, when he lived in Cambridge, he had his own ramp in his garage called the garage ramp, and it was built to basically allow him to be able to park his car in the garage still, but then have ramps all around the outside of it. So I'll pull up a photo of that. It is super cool. So this is like the doorway here, with a nice vert wall, and then you've got like this corner section here. And then legendary Toronto rider Chris Silva, he's been like a pro for I would say more than 13 years, like absolutely unreal. He's one of the only people in the world that can do pegless grinds on handrails, like no pegs, just double peg it with no pegs, I guess.
Just
like,
on the bolts.
Yeah, on
That's
the bolts,
crazy.
down like the biggest fucking rails. He's insane. Like literally most underrated rider. Chris, I know you listen to the show. We love you, man. You're great.
Shout out Chris.
Yeah, Chris Silva. Yeah, with a nice wall tap. Same thing though. Like, you know, there's the rafter beams there. You definitely have a lot more space in there, a lot more head space. But yeah, really fun. This little doorway that goes into the back too. This little pocket's a lot of fun. I wish that we were still able to ride that. Like one day, once I own a house, I'm putting a fucking ramp in the garage like that. Cause
You gotta have something like
oh
that.
man, it's incredible.
You got enough people that would come out and help.
Oh,
build it.
absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, there's lots of like if I told Jordan that I had a garage and I wanted to build a ramp, he'd be here immediately. You know.
People like my coworkers thought like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I'm like, well, okay, you could spend $3,000 on a home gym,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a towel rack.
Yep.
Versus I spent $3,000 on my version of a home gym. We use it all the time. My kids love it. They come down, like friends of theirs come down, slide on it. Kids from the neighborhood come over and ride it. And now my wife, like you saw in one of the videos, she's got her punching bag down there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities with that, you know. There's actually there's this really cool video that I found online a couple months ago. And this teacher, he's like I think a 3rd grade teacher or a 4th grade teacher. He has a mini ramp in the front of his classroom. Like literally at the very front of his classroom, he's got a awesome like 3 foot, 4 foot tall mini ramp. And this is the 2nd year that he's had it apparently. And when he put it in, all these teachers were like, you can't have that. Like, what are you doing? You can't do that. And, he told the students, and their students went and made a petition and made sure that he could keep it. And it's like something that, even the kids that don't skate, they don't do any of that. Like, I don't even think anybody skates on it except for him. I think that it's still something that plays a big role in how you are a teacher. He was saying that it helps like keep kids' attention when you're on it at the front, and then like when kids have the time to run around and do whatever, they can, go and jump on it and hang out on it. They do their work on it. They love it. I think it's something that like when you see stuff like that normalizes skateboarding and like BMX, I think it's really cool. Like I love that, somewhere in America, there's a teacher with a fucking mini ramp in his classroom.
Yeah.
Like, that is so fucking cool.
There's a ton of studies coming out now that show how skateboarding can be used to heal kids who had past trauma. Hull services in, I think it's Calgary. And so I imagine like the whole thing's the same no matter what action sport you do, that being able to go out and being able to go out solo and just kind of get your aggression or get whatever you're feeling out of you is so beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. Keith Baker in the chat was just saying hello. Nathan, he was commenting on your PBR.
Thanks, buddy.
Hell yeah. And then what else we got here? Ask him his opinion on Inflow and All In Skate Park. So we had said earlier that you have never been to All In. Have you been to Inflow?
I haven't.
Okay.
Inflow would be easier to get to from where I live, but I don't know why I haven't been.
They have it's mainly a BMX park, like Nathan's been there.
Oh yeah.
It's a BMX and scooter park, but they have an awesome mini in the like back corner. It's about 6 foot, I think.
The mini's pretty sweet. I think it's 5 or 6 feet. Like,
I talked to Gabe, and I think he said it was 6 feet with the 8 foot extension on the one side. It's all masonite. Yeah. It's super fun. Like that park is definitely, you can ride it on a skateboard. It's going to be hard, but like the mini ramp, you would absolutely love.
Yeah.
The mini ramp's a lot of fun. The coping's a little small, like it doesn't quite stick out like pool coping, right?
Yeah.
You don't so it's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get over that, it's a lot of fun.
I've learned about a few parks.
Yeah.
I have a BMX that I bought off like a Toronto police auction.
Oh,
so
nice.
I have no idea what it is. It seems to be pretty good quality. But
send me some photos and I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, I've taken that up to Joyride a couple times.
Oh, nice.
So the Joyride's a lot closer to my place, so I've done it a few times, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I bet you that pump track at Joyride would be incredible on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you rode any of the new pump tracks that are coming out, like the asphalt ones?
Been to Tilsonburg, which
yeah.
you couldn't remember the name of the other day.
Yes,
and
it
I'm
was.
sitting there just like, it's Tilsonburg.
I know. I knew it started with a T. I'm like, I never go there.
No,
I love it though.
You had the guys. They were chatting about the new one in Alton.
Yeah.
That one I've been watching because that's within the region I work. So when we're covering the Caledon area, I can go and I can see the progress. So I was watching. I'm like, okay, where's the park part of it? So to answer those guys whose name I don't remember.
It was Father Pig BMX
Father Pig, that's
and
right.
Taco Mac.
Yeah. It seems like the bid for the actual like skate park, bike park part of it was canceled.
Oh no.
So it's just going to be the pump track.
Yeah, that sucks. That's really like, I hate when parks do the whole like phase 1, phase 2 thing because that things are going to change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like we talked earlier about Upper Canada Park and how it hasn't actually come out yet, and it was supposed to be finished 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a new park every 2 years for 3 years.
Yeah.
With Kitchener.
Yeah, and they've definitely been slacking. I don't know what the deal is. I kind of want to call them out on it. And in fact, something that I think I would really love to see in this area is, we've all seen them recently popping up, the new skate spots, like just the little areas where, micro parks where you spend less than $100,000 on a nice concrete little area. I think that one of those in this area would be so perfect. So Scott, I don't know how well you know Kitchener, but where I am right now, like this whole area, it's so hard to get to a skate park. Like if you're a younger kid on a bike or a skateboard, you're going to be fucking pedaling your ass off for a while or pushing for a while. Like
just from the way I drove in, I would say your closest is the Odd or
Odd or Waterloo Park.
Okay.
So both of them are about the same distance.
Yeah.
Both of them are on super dangerous stretches of road, right? And I don't know. I just always think like it would be nice to have something that's in this area, like
Yep.
right near my house, you have to cross a bridge right away. So it's like, I think it needs to be on this side of the bridge.
Yeah, you are in a
There's,
little pocket.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of new houses being built around here, a lot of families, lots of, potential. I think that, there's a community center right behind me that has like an open field right there. I
Yeah.
think they should turn that into a little micro park or something.
And I know you've been to London,
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
YMCA there, where there
Oh,
is
I love that place.
there is it is not an official skate park, but they built it so that it can be skated without damage and they don't bust you.
Yeah, I love it.
You need to do more of that. Like even a usable ledge at this community center would be
Yeah.
a benefit.
Well, and a big thing too was you remember that like crazy ledge that was built a couple years ago at
Over by that park.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that like there's this huge 75-foot long like curve ledge. It's incredible. And then they have like another random ledge just somewhere else. And it's just in the middle of nowhere. Like to me it would make so much sense if you could actually ride it. And we rode it for probably about a good 6 weeks, and then
They came along. and
they
capped
came
it.
along, capped it. And I kind of want to go to the city and be like, hey, you should really take those off, because like, their argument would be, oh, well, Waterloo Park is so closed, you guys can just go there. But it's not really about that. Like I think that that's a good area for like neighborhood kids to come in and see skateboarding and everything. I think it's so weird that like skateboarding and BMX are so pushed away, I guess, in society.
In Canada and North
Yeah.
America, definitely.
Yeah, it's so strange. Whereas, like, you go to Barcelona and you can just do anything there. Like,
Yeah.
I have a couple buddies that live in Barcelona right now, and yeah, like they're constantly just riding everything. They never get kicked out of spots. They're always like doing something. Like that is so fucking cool.
Well, in regards to that ledge, like we actually had security come up or show up the one day when we were riding that ledge before they capped it. And he came up and was just checking up on us, making sure that everything was okay, and told us that like those ledges were put in place to be ridden.
And then
a
a
couple
couple
weeks later,
yeah.
they came along. And
So I
capped
think
them.
that security guy had no idea what he was talking about.
There's
And
a
I feel
good
like
chance.
a dick because that day I was actually hosting a jam, and I saw that security guard, and there's like probably 50, 60 BMX riders just like, drinking PBR, hanging out, riding this ledge. And, there's some families around. Nobody seemed to have a problem with it. There was a lot of families just watching us, like hanging out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the security guard came over, and instantly he sees me with my megaphone. He's like, hey, so what's going on here? And I kind of was just a dick right away. I was like, so what? Are we supposed to leave now? And he was like, no, I was just wondering what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, we're just doing a thing here, like just riding. And yeah, he told everybody that they were built for that reason. And I kind of didn't really take that as, an official answer.
Yeah. If it's a public park and you're using it during public park hours, there should be no reason that anything gets capped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we go way back here and talk about how you first started the blog? So do you remember what year it was, and at what point did you decide that this is something you wanted to do?
So let's call it 2011-ish. I'd been doing skate parks. I've been counting the numbers. I get the Facebook updates now occasionally. It's like, oh, I've been to 69 skate parks. I'm like, what a noob. So I had a coworker as a paramedic. We call them partners. So just so you have that part. When I say partner, I'm usually talking about someone I'm working with. And I'd been telling her about all the parks. So she just took it upon herself to start this blog, put my own name in, did it through Google, and created the first page for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super nice of her. Shout out Kaylee. And I just started adding to it. So the first thing I added was the 2006 road trip that I took with Sue and Garrett out to Vancouver Island and back, and then started going from there. So that was about the summer that I did my cankle. So I'd been going out. The film industry had kind of tanked in Toronto during that time. So I had a buddy who was in that, who was able to go out weekdays. And with my weird paramedic schedule, I was doing a lot of weekday morning riding. So we went out one day. We did Picton, which I know you love, and Belleville.
Yeah.
So those
oh
were
my
parks
God.
98 and 99. And then we planned for a couple days later, let's go out to Port Dover. So Dave and I went to Port Dover, met up with another paramedic, Neil, and Neil hurt his knee within the first 5 minutes. We rode, we had some champagne, we toasted, we were having so much fun until I tried to do a board slide and rolled my ankle and cankled it.
Oh,
So I was
no.
off work for about 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like the beginning of the blog.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Picton's incredible. I love Picton just because it's so like in the middle of fucking nowhere. And there's a great chicken restaurant right across the street.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
anytime
With free Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Yep.
with free Wi-Fi. Anytime that Taylor and I are going to Montreal, because we love Montreal, we go there often.
Montreal's a great
We
city.
always, 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 always stop there. Like always that chicken restaurant, always at the skate park. And then of course, I don't know, Scott's definitely not gonna like this part of it, but we'll head out to the dispensaries afterwards and grab our medical, legal marijuana, and it's pretty great. But yeah, it's just such a great like area, and there's a good brewery out there too called Prince Eddie's.
Yep.
I haven't been there yet, but I've had their beer because the chicken restaurant like has it there.
Yeah, I just found a new, pretty garbage skate park on Prince Edward County. Like, how did I not know about this before?
Oh wow.
I've driven that road so many times.
Yeah, there's quite a few parks out there, eh? There's one, I forget what it's called. It starts with a T.
Tendianaga?
Yeah.
I always mispronounce it. It's the Mohawk Territory.
Yeah, we wanted to go and ride that park when we went to Montreal. Do you remember that? We had planned. No, we had planned to go to that park, and we tried to find the address, and the only park that would come up was Picton. So we were like, well, I don't know. Like, I guess we're just not gonna hit it because, like, we had already stopped at 3 other skate parks that day, and making that other one would have been a little excessive, I think, because we had gotten to Montreal at what 10 o'clock at night.
It was pretty late by the time we
it
got
was.
there.
We started we left my house in Kitchener at 8 in the morning, and we didn't get to our Airbnb until 11:30 at night.
Oh, that's a good day.
Oh, yeah. It
Oh,
was a
it was
great day.
incredible. It was awesome. And then the fucking lady at Tim Hortons, probably the same one you went to, had no idea what a BLT sandwich was.
I struggle with that anytime I order a BLT from Tim Hortons. I always miss something.
Yeah, they don't get it. Like, literally the one day he's like, yeah, I'll get a BLT sandwich. It's like, ham and Swiss? No.
Was this Montreal?
No, like
Oh.
right here. Like right up the street. Oh, man. It was just so weird. In the intro, I had said that you had logged over 1,000 parks on the map. So you've actually only been to 377, right?
Yes.
Yes, look at that. I'm good at my research. Out of those 1,000, do you ever think you'll make it to all 1,000 of them?
Oh, never.
Yeah.
'Cause there's always new stuff coming up, and some of them are so garbage that I used to make the trip to go hit something that was garbage because it was there. Once I hit about 300, which was the St. Thomas Park. Yes.
That's another good one.
That's another great one. Then I decided, like, okay, I think I've earned the ability to be a little bit more picky.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to make a run, so I've already got a couple trips planned next year. One is Tobermory. Got to get up there and hit that little one.
Yeah, I don't
And-
know if I've ever ridden that one. I don't think so.
It's a little one, but there's
Interesting.
stuff on the way and there's stuff on the way back. So that's when I'll go hit some things that are not as good.
Well, definitely, you got Saugeen Shores Skate Park, one
Yeah.
of my favorite.
It's
Oh,
one-
I
one
love
of the
it.
few picnic tables in Ontario.
Yeah.
Like concrete.
Incredible, man. I'll bring up a photo of that later. But yeah, that park's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I'm going to throw my phone on here. So if any of you guys want to call in, I'll throw the number up on screen. You can also go to my Instagram, click the contact button. There'll be a call thing. Just hit that, and then you'll actually be connected live, and we'll do the show. You can ask Scott a question, Nathan a question, me if you want. Who knows? I got some rabbits in here. You can ask them a question. It'd be pretty great. But yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Keith wanted me to ask if you have heard of Space Brace, and if so, what's your opinion on ankle braces in skateboarding?
I've only heard of Space Brace from the episode,
Yes,
but I don't
with
think I
Mike
got
Gray.
all the way through that episode.
You should definitely listen to it.
Of
It's
course.
awesome. Yeah,
I just haven't made it through all of them yet.
Yeah.
I used an ankle brace after I rolled my ankle badly
Oh, well,
for a
nice.
little while. Then I just found that I rehabbed the ankle enough, so I don't currently do it. I always use different shoes from walking to skateboarding, so something different.
Fair enough.
No, my ankles haven't been a problem lately.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest checking him out. Like Mike Gray, incredible guy. He actually gave me a new set of Space Braces, like the V2s, which is really cool. I can't wait to try those out. I had rode the V1s for a couple years. I gotta say, man, they definitely do a lot. They
Yeah.
really support your ankles. I just don't know how well it would go with skateboarding. Like, I know I've talked to you, Nathan, about it many times because your ankles are, how you say, fucked. Like, they're done.
I've been all right the last couple years. I haven't had too many ankle issues, knock on wood. But I'm not sure how I'd feel about it while skating, just because like I feel like it would restrict your flexibility a little bit.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do use them, and they've all got better kickflips than me, so I can't imagine that it's really affecting them that badly.
Fair enough.
I'm not jumping down things anymore.
Yeah, I bet it would be really good for when you are just jumping down stuff.
Yeah.
Like it might throw you off a little bit, just
Yeah.
because you typically don't wear them. But I bet that they would really help when you're jumping down big shit.
The
Yeah.
footprint insoles are definitely a big help for that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if you've ever tried them
I
or
gotta
not.
get some of those.
I started riding with footprints I think 2 or 3 years ago, and it's like it's awesome. You don't feel near as much impact.
Yeah. So my wife will attest to it, that I go through shoes quite a bit, and it's as soon as there's just enough wear on like underneath my big toe, then the shoes are done for skateboarding and I'm on to the next pair.
Fair
So
enough.
I've always been, I'll have like 10 pairs of shoes in the closet, and then someone will be like, oh, we're going to Ethiopia, like, do you have gear? I'm like, here's a garbage bag of shoes for kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. So a few months back, we had Braden Hansen on the show. He is a local Stratford rider who has rode BMX every day for over 250 days straight, including every single day in the winter, bitter fucking cold. He's out shredding. So in 2013, you actually did 365 days of skateboarding. Why don't you tell us about that?
So that was the first year that we were in the house with the ramp. The ramp had been completed around Halloween the year before. So we started right at midnight. My wife was playing roller derby, so we had all the derby girls over for New Year's Eve party, and I went down to the ramp and did my first run and kept going day after day. And as things continued, it's like, all right, well, I'm not just going to ride my basement all year. So I went to different parks. I would find new parks. What can I go to? What can I be involved with? That's how I ended up in Elmira. That's how I ended up going to over 150 different skate parks that year. A lot of them I'd been to before. We ended up in Winnipeg through, my mom said she was going to Winnipeg. I'm like, all right, cool, family reunion. Can I come?
Yeah.
It turned out it was her nursing school 40th anniversary, and I managed to invite myself along.
There you go.
Nice.
So my wife and I went. We drove up the Northern Ontario route and then met up with my parents, and we took the States route back. So it was just, all right, where can we find a skate today?
That's
So
awesome.
how I've gotten to a few more in the States. Yeah, just rode every day. Found a couple minutes that I could do something that I could consider riding. And
So my next question is, do you think it's important that anybody that's really into skateboarding or really into bikes does 1 year where they do every single day, they ride for at least 5 minutes a day?
Oh.
You know, you have to do a trick. That was like Braden's rules were that you absolutely have to get out for at least 5 to 10 minutes, and you absolutely have to do one trick, and that you should push yourself to land something you haven't done before, or at least get better at something.
I feel like it's what you can justify to yourself.
Yeah.
So I did 366 days because I rode on New Year's Eve before midnight as well as after midnight. He did that, and he's, I don't know what the right term for it is. He's solid in that he went out every day and he did what he respected of himself.
Yeah.
And I did the same. But I don't think everybody has to go out and pull a full year if they don't want to.
Yeah, I definitely, for myself, I have been fucking slacking. I've been meaning to get out. It's been almost a month since I last rode, which sucks, but like,
It's Canada. There's winter.
that's
there's,
the thing, right?
We've had 2 snowstorms in the past 3 weeks.
And now it's supposed to rain today, so
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love the indoor parks in the area, but for me, I don't know, I'm a street rider. Like, at heart, I love riding street. I love riding outside is the main thing. I don't mind the indoor parks. It's definitely great, and like, go support them, because if you don't go there, they won't be here. That's
Yep.
how this works, you know?
Shout out to the ward.
Yeah,
The
shout out the
Ward.
Ward.
CJ's is another one. They're building a concrete bowl there
The
now.
bowl has just opened.
Wow, that is fucking cool,
Really?
man.
Yeah. They had been planning it. They had planned it in their old location,
Yeah,
and then they moved from Etobicoke out to Mississauga, bought a building.
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories there that I don't know if I'm privy to share, but they opened about a year late. They had a big time with fire bylaw, which as a paramedic I can understand that, but as a business owner, I bet it was a pain in the ass for them.
Oh, absolutely. You know, even when I was at All In, we had dealt with, like fire bylaw and stuff there, and we were able to find like a loophole where the township was saying that we needed to be up to code, but the building when it was built is basically grandfathered in. So like they wanted us to set up a whole sprinkler system, and there's just no way. Like in that big of a building and that old of a building, there's just no way that you could really do it without causing so much like, damage to the ramps or, just in general, like the amount of money that you'd have to spend on it. But yeah, just because the building was so old, I think Derek was able to kind of get his way out of that. But yeah, it's weird. A lot of townships can be kind of on the fence about having a skate park. And like, to me, it's just another business, like you should keep it as just another business. Like at least the people that are not part of it,
Yeah.
It's another opportunity for kids again. Like, not everybody likes to do team sports. It's just another outlet to get out and progress yourself and push yourself to do or to be better.
Exactly.
Yeah. The yard looks like they're killing it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
They look super popular.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about how I don't know if you knew this, but Ottawa actually had a park before this that
Yes.
Jordan also built called Epic Bike Park. Epic only lasted about a year. And it's so crazy to think that, like, all it takes is really good management and a community that is, like, willing to actually put effort towards going to that park,
Yeah. It looks like the yard is going like, hey, we want you to come here and have your special event night. Like, I've seen that they've hosted the Derby Girls. I've seen that they've hosted women's nights. I've seen they've hosted like the scooter stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not reaching out to these communities, if you're just expecting them to show up because you're there, you're going to miss out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do some kind of event out there. I'm so far. And any of my followers, they're around here, So I don't know if that would work, but it's definitely in my mind. I want to go there. I haven't been there yet. I can't believe that I haven't. I think
should definitely make a trip out there soon.
Yeah, definitely soon. I want to go this year for sure. I don't want another situation like Epic, but I don't think the yard is in that situation. I think that they have good management.
I
And
think
they
they
know
have
what they're
good
doing.
management, good connections. Like I know with CJ's, they're not for profit.
Yeah.
And they're in the same building as the printing company that the philanthropist owner does the skate park out of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of cool to see, like, do they still have a huge mini ramp at CJ's? Because they had, like, not a mini ramp, but they had a huge vert ramp there at the old location.
I think they added a foot, but made it a little bit narrower.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Weird, because I feel like if you're going to add a foot, you need to make it, like, 10 feet wider.
Yeah, size constraints.
Yeah.
Like the foam pit is now doubled in size because they've got the launch ramp into the foam pit as well as a hub of rail.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a thing. I think Woodward started doing that years ago with, like, hub of rail, hub of ledge, and then, like, foam stairs.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Oh, these stairs are hard. And I took
Yeah?
a board right to the crotch after trying to 50-50 in.
It's a neat concept though, because like when you think about it, you don't really have anything to practice like handrail tricks or like just jumping downstairs without the consequences of stacking out on a handrail or.
I mean, the way you used to learn how to do a board slide down a handrail was do a board slide on a flat rail.
Yeah.
And then build your way up. Now you can actually jump on a 5-stair without consequence.
Yeah.
If you slip out, you just as long as you're going fast enough, you don't hit the rail.
So here's an interesting, question for you. How do you think that's changed skateboarding? Do you think that having a foam pit and having these rails into foam has, helped advance skateboarding and made skaters better? Or do you think that we should just be sticking to the old ways of it and just, you know, sack out. You need to do it once in a while.
Tough question because I've never sacked out and I don't want to see my kids get hurt, so I'm totally down for them. Yeah, I'm totally down for them, like using pads and using rails and or using a foam pit to practice that kind of stuff. I got to do the Resi ramp once at Joyride.
Oh,
And
nice.
I thought, like, man, if I had to learn how to do anything on a bike starting from scratch and this type of thing didn't exist, I would die.
Oh my God. I have no idea how people were doing fucking backflips without a foam pit. Because, like, for me, you know, I've done them. I don't like them.
I don't even know how you could do a tail whip. Like,
Tail whips aren't that bad.
true,
I'll
but
be
if
honest.
if you're going fast enough and you miss that, at least from my point of view,
Yeah.
like you're gonna fall, you're gonna ride out on your belly on that bike.
So, tail whips, I find that as long as you're able to, it's actually safer than a bar spin, I would say. Because with a
I can
tail
see
whip,
that.
your feet
Yeah.
are coming off the bike, right? You can always just land on your feet.
Yeah.
Whereas with a bar spin, your feet are still attached to the bike. And if you miss your hands, you're going over.
Yeah.
Like, I suck at no-handed tricks because I run a brake and I just always catch the brake. So I just never do it. Like, I do one-hand tricks like T-bogs, one-hand tables. But just like anything to do with both hands off, I suck at because you always miss and you always go over the bars. I just don't like it, you know? I would say tail whip is definitely a lot safer than most people would think, but it'll fucking get you once in a while, that's for sure. Like if you're, what they do is, it's called the dead sailor, when you go to kick it and you get like the wrong pop or you get the wrong pump and the bike doesn't actually go all the way around, it only goes halfway.
Yeah.
Because then you're kind of like, there's nothing you can do. Like, you can't really put your feet down at that point. Like, your feet are in a weird position when it's at that point. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of dudes eat it hard, like on dead sailors. Hop whip dead sailors are hilarious. You'll see kids trying to do that all the time. They just get the worst kick and they can't get out of it. But yeah. So something interesting that I thought, you know, I tried to explain this to Taylor, the Lamb, when I first started working at West 49, like years ago. I'm not there anymore, obviously, but that's where we had met. She didn't realize that BMX and skateboarding are different in the way that one of them, I would say that, like, and I would like to hear if you guys agree with this, that with skateboarding, you land something maybe 50% of the time. And the other 50% of the time, you're able to kind of like run out of it or walk away. But the actual slams that you'll take are maybe 5 to 10% of the time. Like most times you can kind of get away with it without getting super hurt. Whereas on a bike, you're going to be way more consistent at landing stuff. But the slams that you'll take are going to be way fucking worse. And they'll definitely, when they happen, you're not really going to see it very often. Do you get what I'm saying? Would you kind of agree with that?
I can agree with
Yeah,
that to an extent.
I'd say, like, I've got video of me doing like a trick like 60 attempts, and you know, you kick it away, you jump off. It's 60 attempts. It wears you out, but
Yeah.
I'm not dying on a whole bunch of those attempts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas on a bike, you know, you'll probably get it within 5 to 10 attempts, but those 4 or 9 attempts are gonna fucking suck, dude. Like,
Just from like when we were filming for Space Goats, since like I hung out with all of you BMXers.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of the times, like it's a lot more consistent, a hell of a lot more consistent than I was as a skateboarder. But like the times when things do go wrong on a bike, you usually end up slamming pretty hard.
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool that you were actually a part of that video. So, Scott, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. Have you watched the full length video of Space Goats?
I think so.
Yeah. So Nathan had a 2-song part, and it was actually really cool filming with Nathan. So we had originally, we were just going to film something for the internet, like just him and I make a little web edit. And it eventually evolved into a full part because I was already filming this other thing. And then I thought about doing a skate DVD, and I still have like clips of a couple of my skate buddies that I haven't done anything with yet, but I'm going to do something with them eventually. But yeah, it was just something where Nathan was always with the bike crew, you know, and I felt like he needs to be a part of the full video because, like, you're with us at all times. You know, we were always going out to the same spots. You're pushing your fucking ass off, chasing after a bunch of bikes.
We did London a couple of years ago, and like this was before I had a bike, so I was skating alongside everybody. I think we did 50K around London. By the time we got to any spot, I was like, I had no energy to actually skate. I just kind of hung out for the day. But yeah, that was a lot. I bought a bike after that just to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was like something really cool to do with the video, have a skater in it, because you don't see that very often. How many skate videos do you see that have a BMX part in it? None. Like
I found one at Value Village that was
really?
like a action sports one that had
that's
like
cool.
three skaters, 3 surfers, 3 bikers, and some FMX.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's a cool concept, Have you guys ever seen any like full length videos of snow skate people?
Couple.
Dude, there's one that I watched, and I kind of was like, this is a thing? Like, people do snow skate videos? And I was like, wait a second. Why wouldn't it be? People do BMX videos. People do skate videos. People do scooter videos.
Parkour videos.
Yeah, parkour videos. So I was like,
if it's out there, people make a video and then edit it for it.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, let's watch this. It's a full-length, 20-minute snow skate video. It was fucking good, man. I really enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing and really liked it.
Was it in Montreal?
I don't know. Okay. I can't remember.
The thing that I love about snow skating is like you look at there's so many spots that you see as a skateboarder where it's like that would be a sick handrail or a sick set, but it's got a short run up and the rest is grass, or you're landing and then there's grass right afterwards, or there's just obstacles in the way. Whereas when you introduce snow and a snow skate, like you can make your own runway, like none of that matters anymore. The potential for spots is just incredible.
Yeah, it's that was the cool thing about it too, is that they weren't just riding like a snow-covered skate park. They were out at actual spots. Like there was dudes doing huge fucking handrails, like 15-stair handrails on a snow skate. Mm-hmm. Like, this is insane. Like, just so crazy.
I have a snow skate. I bought one when it all kind of started, just to give it a shot. Skate throughout the winter, and it's not easy to get into.
No,
I think there's you have to get like a certain like grip tape for it so that it works a little bit better. Like I never got that far with it.
I've tried a couple different ones on the different like skate retreats that I've done, and it's kind of like, hold on.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly that didn't
Get
work
on there,
out.
Bend your knees and hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Clearly it didn't work out, because instead of buying a snow skate every year, you built a ramp in your basement.
Yeah. That's why I don't snowboard.
There you go. My dad's into snowboarding. He goes out to Blue Mountain like once a week.
Snowboarding's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't snowboard at all. I wish I could. I really love snowboarding. I love the videos. I love the culture behind it and everything. Like, one of my favorite things every year is when X Games does the real street stuff. So they do like real streets.
Snow.
Yeah, they do real snow, real BMX, real skateboarding. The real snow shit will blow your fucking mind, dude. There's dudes on top of like 6-story buildings just, I'm going to wall ride off of this building onto another one and then land in a tiny little transition at the bottom and roll away fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it just blows my fucking mind. There's a dude from Quebec, Frank Borges. I recommend everybody goes and watches his video parts, because insane, dude. It's just ridiculous, Yeah, shout out to fucking snowboarding. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the traveling skate camp Road Rage? This is a really cool concept in my mind.
So Road Rage is a traveling summer camp skate park road trip tour that Skate Life, which is a nationwide organization, youth outreach, does. It used to do Skate Road Rage East and Road Rage West. So Winnipeg through to BC would go one direction, and then a week later, a lot of the guys would do the same thing. Winnipeg would still come on the East trip, and we'd do Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. So over the course of a week, we would film, go to skate parks, go to street spots. The kids would, it was cheap for them, like less than what a summer camp in a city would cost. So we'd cover like accommodations, some of the meals, and we just take them out and just have a really good time with them, like get to know them on their level. That's what Skate Life was all about, like getting to know the skaters at the skate parks, not being like, hey, why don't you come over here and chat with us?
Yeah.
So in Road Rage, I'll talk more specifically about last year's. Last year's was a blast. A few years back, we switched it up, so we started in Montreal. So we'd have a couple days in Montreal. We got to do Peace Park, The kids are all
Nice.
stoked down to go down to Peace Park, and you've been talking about Peace Park, so I just wanted to bring up. Originally, that place was a super bust.
Yeah.
There's a whole movie about the legalization of that park. It was a harsh bust. Cops would take your boards. You'd be charged. You'd end up in court. In 2014, they piloted a project to make skateboarding at that spot legal. So we went that year. So it was legal to skate, but it was still the middle of red light district. Our 13-year-old kids were being offered sexual favors by the hookers that were still down there. People were smoking crack on the side of the street. It was a dirty part of town.
Oh yeah.
So we went down this year, and there's still some homeless because it's the downtown core of a major city, but it has cleaned up the area by making it legal to skate there.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. And I absolutely love that area. Peace Park, that's where we had filmed the guy who did the music for your video part. So
Yeah.
I've told this story a couple times, but this random guy, I forget his name, but he just kind of walked over and he was stoked that you were skating and he had a guitar. So we started, hanging out with him and he started playing. We kept feeding him beer, feeding him weed, and this guy fucking was stumbling away by the end of our 3-hour session there.
Oh man.
But when I went back to Montreal a couple months ago, or almost a year ago now, I went out to Pooza Fest, which is like ska and punk rock music festival, and they are located right downtown Montreal, pretty much. And one of the venues that I went to is actually it's a strip club. So when you walk in, you're literally walking into a fucking strip club. So there's just naked girls walking around, dragging guys for lap dances or whatever. And we're like, what the hell? This is definitely not where they're having a punk show. This bouncer guy comes over. He's like, you guys want upstairs, eh? You can tell because I'm wearing a fucking punk vest, looking around, stink of fucking PBR. And so yeah, just go up the stairs there and they'll let you in. So go up and sure enough, it's just a fucking upstairs VIP area for a strip club, and it's just where they're having a punk show that night. And that was seriously one of the best nights of my life for punk music, ska punk, all that shit. It was incredible. It's so weird, but it was right across the street from Peace Park.
Yeah.
So I was telling Taylor about it. I'm like, yeah, we went into that 7-Eleven right there and bought a bunch of beer and then we were hanging out on that bench. She's like, oh yeah, that's real nice. That's cool, yeah, it is,
It was really cool because when we stopped riding over there and just kind of hung out, because I think I got my first nose manual nollie flip off that really long ledge across there, and
not true. You had done one somewhere else. This was the first one that we had filmed. So we'll tell that afterwards, but continue.
Once we got that, we were kind of celebrating. We went and bought a couple cases of beer, and then we're just offering them to everybody because there was a bunch of people that had seen us skating and just kind of came over to hang out and watch. So
it was so weird. This mom with her little daughters that were probably 11 and 13. And, we'd come over, she's chatting with us with her nice French accent, and then I look over and she's already drinking a shock top. So we're like, oh, this is awesome. Do you want a beer? Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, it's such a warming environment. We thought that I don't know, my thoughts were because they were kind of looking at us and kind of talking to each other. They kind of seemed annoyed. So we're like, are we gonna get shit from these guys? Are they gonna be annoyed that we're skating here? And no, that they were just stoked to see.
Yeah, I think
going on.
I think somebody landed something, and then they started clapping, and they were stoked. So then I brought my bag over, set it next to them, because there's definitely still a lot of homeless people there.
You don't want to watch your bag run away.
Yeah, you can't leave your shit there. But yeah, super fucking cool, man.
I'm glad we made it out there.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite memories of Montreal. I think that one day, that really sums up what Montreal is all about. Because we went out and we rode parks that morning. We went out and rode a couple more street spots, just kind of traveling around.
Yeah.
And then we ended up there, and that's kind of where I don't know if we ended the day off there, but I think we went to a couple more spots.
I think there was a few more, but I remember
nothing as cool as that spot.
No, no, that was definitely the highlight of the day.
Yeah, I would almost say it was one of the highlights of the trip.
It
You know,
was a really cool spot.
Yeah, we had a really good time in Montreal. From Peace Park, we went down to Big O and the Olympic grounds.
Yep.
And Olympic grounds are great because it's no bust unless you're riding on top of the stadium.
yeah.
And then I don't think you've been to the Vans Bowl yet.
I haven't. I want to
So-
go so fucking bad. I'm making excuses right now to go. So like,
It was unreal. The temporary park was still set up in the next kind of area. Andy Anderson was riding the bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, Andy Anderson is a now pro skater for Powell Peralta or Powell. He was just skating at the Tampa Open. Interesting guy because he wears a helmet and doesn't give a crap about what anyone thinks.
I
Always
think I've
wears his
seen
helmet.
his stuff. I've seen his footage before.
And can
He
throw,
stands out, yeah.
yeah, and throws these front foot impossibles out of everything.
Yep.
Like a king. So he's there, and the reason I got my helmet was because he had his.
That's
I
awesome.
liked his helmet. I went out of my way to find that helmet because, like, that's a helmet I'll wear when I'm skating alone. Show up, and it's an intimidating bowl because it's probably about 10 feet deep at the biggest point.
Hell yeah.
And he's just totally chill. It's like, hey, I'm Andy. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm probably like 18 years older than him. But, like, yeah. He's like, I love the helmet. Like, I got it because that's your helmet.
That's
So then
awesome.
we just skated together. There was another guy. It was just before Jackalope Fest, which is one of the big multi-sport events that they have down there.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Dude, I cannot believe that they built this ridiculous bowl and just left it there.
So that's
like,
what
anybody can
Vans
ride
is
it.
doing now.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so fucking cool because one of the things that I hate about X Games is that it's built in a stadium and after a week it's all fucking torn
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
You'll never get to ride that course ever. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, you should be building this with all the money that you're making from this. Build a skate park in that community and give it to them, you know?
So
It's
Vans did that.
insane that Vans is doing that, and I fucking love it. You know, so much respect for the Vans, and just because of that, I'll always buy their shoes from now on. And I,
Yeah.
you know, I buy their shoes anyways. So
So I think
kinda
this
works
last year
out.
last year was when they started doing that. They did Montreal, Salt Lake City, and I can't remember where the other one was.
Somewhere in Australia, I think.
Probably.
Yeah,
But the Salt Lake City one looks great too.
yeah, it's insane. Like, I really want to ride that bull. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen
we're
it.
gonna go to it. I've got. I'll pull up some photos of that in a couple minutes because I know that that's on your site, is it not?
Yeah, the video that we filmed last year definitely is.
Yeah.
So I've got one clip doing like a nose pick
Hell
pulling
yeah.
on it.
That's sick. So here, let's talk about actual skate parks for a second. What are 3 underrated features that you guys can think of at a skate park?
I want to go simple. Like, if you don't have a flat rail,
Yep.
if you don't have a flat mani pad, and you don't have a flat ledge of about 16 to 20 inches high, then you've missed out on the basics of a skate park.
Yep.
That's a really good point. You know, the 3 basics that you really need. You need a flat rail, flat ledge, and a mani pad.
I wish more skate parks would incorporate something like that. You know, everybody wants to have like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the parks that they've been building in the area are like, they're very nice. You know, it's a nice looking park, but you miss out on the basics. And it's the
You
stuff
forget
that-
something. Yeah.
You need those basic stepping stones to progress, right? Like, I don't know, flat ledges and flat rails are definitely an important aspect of a skate park.
I'm going to lump those first 3 as one. So the
Yeah.
other thing I'll say is open space to practice
Yes.
flip tricks.
Good idea.
What lacks a good park to use as an example is Campbellford, which I don't know if you've ever been to that. It's probably my number 1 favorite park. It has got a nice little stretch of just flat that's not connected to where the stairs and the other obstacles are. It's not connected to the bowl. It's just the perfect place that you could play skate.
Yep.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I think that one big feature that I really look forward to in a park is a really nice big hip. Like a nice big area where you can go super fast. You know, in my opinions on it will be so much different than what you guys have just because I am a bike, you know, I'm a bike guy. But for me, a nice big like flat bank hip where you can just go so fucking fast and so far on it is like essential to any park, you know?
Yeah.
You're thinking Rockmosa.
Yeah, Rockmosa is incredible. Park like that. And then, you know, I love Rockmosa's park, aka Rock.
Yeah.
Because they have this like flat bank and then a huge flat top, and then just on the other side is a grass hill that's like perfectly shaped like a landing ramp.
Yep.
Oh my god, I would ride that park all fucking day if I could. And like that big gap into it is so much fun. It's never boring. You can go so fast over it and just do like nice big tricks.
Yeah.
Um,
That park's really fast.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. But another big feature that I think is super underrated and I would love to see in more skate parks is a box jump. You never see like a nice transition lip with a flat top and then like, maybe a nice transition landing or even a flat bank landing.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the only ones that I can think of in the area would be Port Elgin, like Saugeen Shores. They have a really good box jump there. There's nowhere else around. At least that's like a concrete park that really has
No.
too many. You get a lot of the flat
The Milton
banks.
Bike Park has that.
Yeah.
And I would challenge that there's a bunch of it's prefab, but
Prefab,
Mississauga
yeah.
has a lot of those.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mississauga has a lot of parks.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, I didn't realize that until I was checking your site last night, and there's like 11 different parks. London has like 11 or 12 parks.
London's, I thought they were
London's
like
sweet.
14, 15. Like every time I talk to people from London, I hear that there's more parks I've never heard of.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
probably more being built. Who knows? It's really cool to see something like that, though. Because in Kitchener, like, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, we have 6 parks and 1 street spot. Because we have the, Riverside, Churchill, and then right by Churchill, there's a neighborhood like micro
Maple.
park. Yep,
I
Maple.
love that.
And then, we have the odd Trashmore, which unfortunately the bowl is now gone.
Yep.
So that sucks. And
Can we
then
just say
Fisher,
screw hardcore skate parks?
right? Yeah. I don't know. I talked to somebody who knew kind of the backstory behind it, and they were saying that the bowl, there's just no way that they could have kept it just because where it was built, they drilled down like 20 feet and they couldn't put supports in.
Yeah, I've seen stuff that they.
I
put
thought it
in-
was built by Spectrum, by the
So
way.
Spectrum designed.
Okay. And then
Hardcore got
built
the
it.
build.
Okay.
So, like, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but none of their Ontario parks that I've been to have been perfect. Like, there's always something.
enough.
There's always something with hardcore, and the most recent one is Aurora, where now the 5-year-old park is being completely replaced.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, that's not good, especially if it's a concrete park, because
No kidding.
that's not fucking cheap. Like,
No, the city's budgeting 600,000, which
oh my god.
probably won't get them even the same park.
Yeah.
But there was just so many issues. Like I watched the pictures of the build. I'm like, that bowl's already leaking. You're not done the park, and the bowl is seeping.
Oh no. Yeah, that's not good. And for a lot of people that are listening that maybe don't know the cost of skate parks, they get up there, man. Fisher
Oh,
Park
yeah.
cost almost $1 million. It was $100,000 under. They had budgeted for $600,000, and it ended up costing them $900,000 to build that.
That's
fucking
probably why Upper
park.
Canada's so delayed.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
Keith said that Upper Canada is delayed because Weber Street had to be repaved for the 18th millionth time, which is so fucking true.
Hey,
Let
if
me
you're ever
just-
feeling down in life, just be like Weber Street and never stop working on yourself.
There you go. That's so true. I like that, Nathan. Chris Johnson said, I watched a wakeboard movie the other day. They even have street spots. Like, what? There's no way. That's insane if there is.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Nathan, what are your 3 underrated skate park features? I had said box jump and a nice big hip, so I have one more, but what do you got for
I
us?
have to say half pipes.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Like a little mini ramp?
I can't even think of the last like newer park that I've been to. Actually, I guess they redid Beasley in Hamilton, and they've got a pretty sick half pipe now.
I haven't been, but I've seen it. It looks pretty good.
It's perfect. It's so much fun. But half pipes are one of those things that I don't know. I don't know if there's just not enough hype for them anymore. Everybody wants bowls now, but it's
Thanks.
I don't know. You don't see them anymore.
No,
Thanks, buddy.
clearly I like transition, and so like I was always looking for a park that had a quarter pipe at least. So if I was going to any park that, especially plazas, I wasn't enjoying those for the longest time till I kind of got better at ollie-ing and doing 50-50s. But now it's give me your park and I'll figure out what I can do at it.
Yeah. So what do you think are a couple things that are just bad skate park design? Can you name off
Oh,
anything in like the
gosh.
local area that you can think of?
So using old surfaces, like old tennis courts, if the tennis court's fresh, you're okay. But if the tennis court is so beat up that nobody uses it for tennis anymore, hey, let's use it for skateboarding because, those guys don't need anything.
They don't care.
They don't. Skaters don't matter. The park that in the 50 skate park thing where I do the boneless between the two ramps, that park is called Gore Meadows. It's all modular. It's in Brampton, right by where I work. It had originally been closer to the building on a fresh asphalt pad. So not the greatest, but they moved it when they did an expansion. They put it on fresh cement, but they finished that fresh cement broom finish. So it's like a sidewalk.
Oh, no.
And the broom finish is perpendicular to the flow of the park.
Oh.
So you drop in on the quarter pipe, it's like getting, I don't know, your board almost stopping and your body continuing going forward.
Yeah, that's definitely not good, you
No.
know? And there's a reason why skate parks are being, polished concrete lately. It's because it's best for skateboards, scooters, bikes. It's definitely difficult because you don't get the same traction. Like,
It is definitely slippery.
it's very slippery on a bike, but I've never had too many issues, like Guelph Park, it sucked for the first year, but it never really stopped me. And after about a year, it always roughens up anyways, so it's not a big deal.
Get a couple winters in it and it'll be good for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got to use this thing because I've been watching it.
Oh, for sure. There you go. Get the old Dick bottle opener there. Yeah, everybody loves that thing, man. It's incredible. Yeah, dude, this is the first time that I've ever had a Bud Light orange. I don't drink Bud Light at all, but I'm like, not bad, man. First couple tastes, not terrible. That's for sure.
I figured it out.
There you go. Yeah, let's see here. So what makes a great skate park, do you think? So we talked about some of the things that make it a bad skate park.
One of my favorite features is personal touches that really reflect the city that it's in. So St. Thomas, because I know you guys have been there, Rail City. They got all that train stuff in there. It's perfect. Thunder Bay has the Sleeping Giant replica mani pad. It's beautiful. When I was involved in Elmira, really the only thing I knew going in was the Maple Syrup Festival. So I actually, I guess, pissed off one of the ladies from the city. It's like, we do more than just maple syrup, because I had so many different maple syrup based designs that were just ridiculous. In the end, they ended up going with that maple leaf that had been on the one wall. I don't know if it's worn off now, but
it's definitely it's
very faded.
To wear, yeah.
Well, that is my
personal touch.
My personal touch to that park.
Hell yeah. So talking about personal touches, or something that really relates to that skate park or that community, this is Gaganawa, which is right off the highway to Montreal. Yeah, I can't pronounce it, man. We know this. So they've got a lot of really cool like rock features, so we'll keep going through here. This is really cool. I like this stair set and the ledge.
The stair set was made so that if you still need to run out of your trick, like you're not going to roll your ankle, but it still looks really cool like a rock surface.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with that.
Yeah, this park's actually really cool, and I wish that we could have something like this in the area, because it is like, you don't see this very often. Like, it's nothing crazy. Like, it's just quarters on this side with a nice big bowl corner.
Yeah. And even that little gap section that you have up there, that alone would make a small skate spot.
Oh, absolutely. Like right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is incredible. This is seriously like one of the best little spots that you could have.
Yeah.
I honestly wish that, we would have had a little bit more time to ride this park when we were coming back from Montreal, and a little bit more energy, because like the park was so sick, and I just remember being so tired and not being able to really...
Oh, we fucking were so tired, and everybody was just like, everybody hated each other, which I called. I was like, watch.
By the end of the trip, you'll hate each other?
Everybody is going to fucking hate each other by the end of this trip. 7 days in Montreal, we're all stuck in the car.
That's a sign of a good trip. You get to the end of it, it's like, man, that
absolutely
sucked. All right, who's in for next year?
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, and on the ride home after this, I had no fucking care in the world because I was too busy tripping balls on way too many edibles. Like, fuck that, man.
The only
Worst
problem with this park
experience.
now is all of the pool coping's been stolen out of that deep pocket.
What?
Yeah, a bunch of it keeps going missing.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell is taking this and where the fuck are they taking it to?
Somebody has a barn with a bowl capsule that's got pool coping in the area.
Yeah, and they
it's
built it
gone.
around this. Because I'm like, you can't really just use other pool coping. Like, you can, I guess, but like,
It can't be that hard to make molds to make your own pool coping. I've seen
Oh, no.
DIY videos on YouTube all the time.
you ever seen the beer can pool coping?
Beer can pool coping, pretty cool.
Don't think I've seen that actually.
No.
So you take a tall can and you cut the top off of it, and then you fill it with cement. And then you
okay.
cut the tall can
Yeah.
off of it after it
And
dries.
you have a bit of rebar in it so that you can
Yeah.
concrete it into the thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really fucking cool. I wanted to do something like that for the jam, like the DIY jam that I want to do.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, hopefully.
I grew up on, do you know Built to Shred?
Yes,
I think
yes.
so, yeah.
Yeah, that show, that was basically what I spent my day before my surgery watching, and I love that show. Just
Awesome show.
watching all kinds of junk get made and put together.
Hell yeah. So my last underrated skate park feature, what did you say?
Half pipes.
Half pipes. Yeah, that's a really good one. For me, a really good last feature is probably, and this is so ridiculous and you can't just put it anywhere, but a really nice bowl corner like we saw at that last park, maybe even oververt, where you can really just carve and get a lot of speed.
Yeah.
There's nothing that feels better than that, you know, when you can really get into it and just go super fast. Even on a skateboard, it
Yeah.
looks so fun, you know.
Have you skated the hoof?
I have.
The Vanderhoof Bowl?
I
Yes.
love
So
Vanderhoof.
When I lived in Toronto, that was my closest one. That's pretty much, that wasn't where I learned how to drop in, but it's where I learned how to roll in.
Yeah, I have a lot of opinions on Vanderhoof. I love it. It's a great park. It's wonderful. People there can be kind of fucking idiots.
The locals?
Yeah, they do not appreciate bikes there at all.
They really do think they own it.
I know, and I don't get it, you know, like, to me, my thing is like, you know, I do a BMX podcast, and here I am sitting down with two skaters, and this is awesome. You know, I love skateboarding. I've always had such a love for skateboarding. It's just, it's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I still respect the culture. I watch videos. I could name off, like, tricks from videos, you know,
You're wearing a
and
Thrasher
everything.
shirt.
Wearing
right
a
now,
Thrasher
so-
shirt just because I wanted to do this, you know? So either way, I love skateboarding, and I think that, like, BMX definitely takes a lot of things from skateboarding, but I also think that skateboarding would take a lot of things from BMX. I think
yeah.
that it's all, you know, the hate between us is ridiculous. I can't believe that there's still people in this world that don't see that it's all for the same reason, you know,
No,
it's all for the same shit.
It's two different cars,
Yeah.
really. Like,
Yeah.
you get to a point where you're driving, do you choose a Civic or do you drive a Jeep?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We
for the same purpose.
We chose a different mode of transportation, and we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a really
As
good
long
point.
as you don't snake me, as long as you're not a jerk in the skate park and you have etiquette, I'm fine with anything.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
And that's the big thing too, where I've talked about this a ton on the podcast, and I'm sure you've listened to me rant about this, is that scooter kids get a lot of flack. And I'm not talking about the younger kids. I'm talking about the kids that are like, you know, 15, 16 that are doing double flares and all this shit. They get a lot of flack and they get looked down upon against the skate and BMX community because of younger kids that get in the way. And let's be real here, it is something where a lot of the tricks that you'll learn, you can learn within the first week of doing it. But when you start doing double flares and double flips and all these crazy tricks, you have to have some sort of respect for it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You can't deny the talent when they're good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same thing with rollerblades too, you know? That was a big thing back in the day where
Yeah.
fruit boots were like...
I'll still watch some of the Euro tours, and those are insane. 30-foot bank, and they're doing like one-footed stalls on the top of
Yeah.
it.
You know, rollerbladers are like it's one of those things that like I've got a lot of respect for anybody who kills it on rollerblades still.
And I think now, when you see somebody on rollerblades, you have nothing but respect for them because nobody does it, and you know that they're fucking good.
Well,
Yeah.
my thing is like, you know, on a skateboard or on a bike, at any given point when you know something is going wrong, you have that split second where you can kick out and you can bail out and land on your feet. When you're on a rollerblade, you're going down with the ship.
If you're going down, you're
Yeah.
going down.
With bikes, it's arguable. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of the times it's really hard to get out of something. You can maybe hold on to the bike and get out of it. I've done this a lot of times too, where you're like jumping a gap and maybe you kind of feel weird and you have to land on your like knees, but holding on to the bike. like, that's easy enough, but it still sucks. Whereas like skateboarding, you can typically get out. With scootering, it's like, yeah, it's so easy to get out of. You can literally just throw it away. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why people have such a hate for scootering. I think it is just because
It's,
young kids
I think
do
it's
it.
park etiquette.
Park etiquette,
Park
young
etiquette,
kids do it.
daisy chains, not listening, and
Oh
then
my fucking God.
when little kids have attitude,
Yes.
and you're just trying to, like,
Yeah, dude, I can't believe
this.
the...
This is this is the place that people exit their trick. Maybe it's not the good place to hang out.
Yeah, the fucking mouthiness on these kids. And
Yeah.
I think a big part of it too is like a lack of knowledge with the parents,
Yes.
I was considering making a video about park etiquette this year and posting it on my website, just about like, hey, maybe don't do this kind of stuff, but go like really in depth about it on why you don't want to do it. But my thing was like, are parents really going to watch it, or are they just going to fucking not care, you know? So
I
I
would
think
say
the
like
big...
the concrete babysitter is a harsh mistress.
Yeah.
And like, I first time I went to Silver Creek, Guelph, awesome park. I destroyed this like 4-year-old on a scooter because I was coming down 50-50 in my Hubba. She could have gone the one way that would have been the best way to go, especially if you were driving. She went the opposite way. And I just took her out with my butt.
So I think a big thing too is that with scooters, parents are getting them on way too fucking early. Like, yes, you could bring your kid who has training wheels on his bike, who's 4 years old, to the skate park, but it's not a smart idea, right? Like, you need to learn the basics. You need to learn the knowledge behind it. It's not easy just to get in there. There's a lot going on, and if you don't have awareness, and I give people shit all the time for wearing headphones at the park. You gotta fucking
Personal
be able to
pet
listen.
peeve.
Yeah,
Yep.
you've got to be able to listen. You got to be able to hear, because who knows? Maybe you're gonna drop in, or somebody's like, "Oh shit!" Like, most of the time, if you're wearing something, you're fine. Like, I've found, helmet, no headphones, you're good. You can still hear them. You can still get out of it. I don't know. I used to be bad with headphones, though.
My thing is always like, oh man, that was sick. What? You
Yeah.
look
Oh
like
my
a tool.
God.
Just change up what I was gonna say to him.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's not hard to kind of get the layout of a skate park. It's just that they don't know to do it. You show up,
Fair.
watch. You're going to see who's doing what, where the line are, what the path of travel is, and parents just don't do that. First time at Silver Creek, the kids are standing right at the top of the quarter pipe, and me and the BMX guy and my buddy, we're just standing back because we want to throw down, go off that quarter pipe. Like, yo, that's not a good place to stand. Yo, hey, are you yelling at my kid? No, we're shouting so that he hears us because he's standing right in the middle of the path of travel. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's so weird to me that parents are like, they get so upset about it. I get it. You don't want somebody yelling at your fucking kid, but at the same time, if you don't know the knowledge, to not have your kid sit there, then maybe you should get yelled at instead. Like, let's just yell at the parents.
Yeah.
Move your fucking kid, you idiot. Like,
I'm 180 pounds moving, 20K or 20 miles an hour on a skateboard if I'm going fast. That will hurt someone.
oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
And especially a bike.
Yeah.
You add metal. Like at Silver Creek, I took off some kid's pedal with my shoulder blade.
Oh, I believe it, man. Yeah, I fucking wrecked a kid at that park.
I've definitely wrecked it. They've got that center. It's like where the China banks are.
Yeah.
It's a blind corner, and there's constantly kids going across the path of travel. It gets pretty bad. I wrecked off a kid the first time I went there too, and same thing. Like the kid was fine, but I actually dealt with the parent who was in their van driving away, yelling at me as they were leaving their kid there. The kid was maybe like 5 or 6 years old.
I never get that either. Is like you were saying, concrete babysitter.
Yep.
Like, just throw them at the park and leave. This is kind of like, a sad story, but these kids used to come to the park when I was like, a lot younger, probably like 14, 15. There's these little like black kids that they would just get dropped off at the park at like 9 in the morning. And then their parents would come by at like 2 in the afternoon, give them some food, and fucking dip out, come back and get them at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, these kids have literally been here all day. Like, They were loving it. Don't get me wrong. They fucking had the best time of their life there. But at the same time, they didn't have a cell phone. None of us knew the contact information for their parents. None of us knew like where they lived. None of us knew anything about them. They don't have their health card with them. They don't have anything. Like if these kids got really fucked up, what the hell are you gonna do? Like, there's only so much you can do at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was always like kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Where I'm like, you can't just leave your fucking kids here. Like it's not a spot that you just okay, have fun. I'll be back. Like.
Yeah. Unsupervised area, you might as well drop them off in the woods.
Yeah. Well, would you do it at a normal fucking park? No, because you're afraid of other fucking adults coming and stealing your kids, I work retail and like I got to tell you, man, the amount of fucking stupid parents I see on a daily basis is ridiculous. Where it's like their kid is literally at the front door trying to open the door and leave and they're at the back of the store just hanging out doing their thing. Like your kid is literally 3 seconds away from the fucking parking lot. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Like, it blows my mind that like, because when I was a kid, at least when I was growing up, I had to stand right next to my fucking mom. And if I wasn't an arm's length away, she would freak out at me. And it wasn't because, oh, you need to be here right now. It's because she didn't want anything to happen to me. Like, you can give your kids freedom. Don't get me wrong, but when they're 3 years old. Maybe don't give them the same freedom as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, my kids can run around and do anything in the backyard, but we're on a ravine lot.
Yeah.
You don't go outside that fence line without me.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah, I think a big part of that too is just like common sense isn't so common, eh?
Amen.
It's unfortunate. Oh man. So how is skating and like, having kids affected your life? Because a lot of people obviously when they first get into BMX and skating and whatnot, they obsess over it, and then all of a sudden somebody will have a kid and you'll never see them again, but you still make it a part of your life, which is awesome.
So I do. My wife and I both try and have something outside of work and home. She's right now doing kickboxing and boxing lessons, which is pretty cool. And what did I do?
No, it's just because the mic is fucked. It's very quiet. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I swear.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, maybe there. Try?
Maybe.
No.
Oh.
A little crackly, I think. I don't know.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah?
That should be fine for now.
So, when my son Logan was first born, I tried to kind of pick up another hobby, and I bought a used drum set and I refinished it. And then I did another one, and then I quickly realized that was a more expensive hobby than all my skate park stuff. So I kind of ditched that, and now I have too many drum sets. But with the skate life thing, we have a new location that's pretty close to my house, within 20-minute drive. So when I get better enough to do it frequently, it won't take as much time away from my life. And then we just kind of, she allows me a couple of trips a year to go out and do my big multi-day road trips.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely like you have to put time aside for both. You can't just do one of them. And I think that, a lot of the parents that probably were into BMX or skating beforehand, and now they're just straight 100% parents, they gotta miss that shit, man. Because that, to me, if I don't ride once in a while, I lose my fucking mind. Like, I go nuts.
It's hard. I don't want to push my kids to it so much that they reject it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But by having the ramp in the basement and not being like, hey, let's go down and ride, but
just having it there.
Yeah, we have a swing set and we have a TV built into one of the walls.
Yeah.
So the kids love this thing where they'll go down, one will go on the swing, I'll push them while they watch a cartoon, and the other one just rides back and forth on the board or slides down the ramps, and they've learned to share by knowing at the end of that particular cartoon, swap.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So it's fun to see that they're not like Hellraisers who hate each other. They'll actually share. They'll actually do stuff together. So I'm hoping eventually, like, we'll be a little bit more park oriented. Like, hey, you want to go to the skate park? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows, man? It'll probably come. There's a lot of kids out there that are absolute fucking shredders at like such a young age.
Yeah, I can't hold a candle to pretty much any kid I know.
So Pat Casey, he's like legendary BMX rider,
Yep.
huge name in BMX. Jordan Bonifacio actually helped build his ramp, at least the second phase of it. He went out there and built it. And his fucking kid is insane. He's like not even 5 years old, and they're throwing him on dirt bikes. He's like jumping huge gaps on dirt bikes, riding his bike, doing huge gaps, like just everything. And you can see.
Is that the kid who backflipped in the video?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, not backflipping yet, but just doing crazy shit still. There's this other kid who's, I think he's 9 or 10, maybe even 11. He's pretty big in skateboarding right now, but he is doing the biggest fucking handrails. I think he did something down El Toro.
Was that the kid that was skating like the Hollywood set?
Yeah, he was skating the Hollywood set years ago, and he's like, he's still doing the biggest shit. He posted a thing the other day where it's like huge 16 stair that he grinded, huge like 22 stair that he board slided, just like the most ridiculous shit at such a young age.
Obviously, they're shorter. Like
Yeah,
me looking down something, I add 6 feet, but when they're 4 feet tall, it looks 2 feet shorter to them.
yeah, fair enough.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
Anyways, this kid, man, he's just throwing down the craziest tricks, and I was kind of like, I wonder, like, how often does he slam? Like, how bad are his slams? And I found a like clip where he takes a fucking nasty slam. I was like, oh yeah, no, he's like a true fucking skater, Because I was like, this kid is landing everything. Like, this isn't fair at all. Like, no, he's eating shit, and he's eating shit hard.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the illusion of video for anything.
Yeah.
You don't show the bad one. You don't show the 80 tries. You
oh,
show
I
the-
do.
Yeah, sometimes we do it, but the highlight reel is
Yeah.
most of what gets out there.
Fair enough. So earlier we were talking about skate spots or like micro parks, even there's like skate paths, stuff
Yep.
like that. I really want to go and make one in this area. I want the city to make one. So why don't we give some advice to the kids that don't know how to go about it? What would your first step be on getting this process started?
So whether you want a bike park or you want scooter or you want skate park, best thing to do is Tony Hawk Foundation's website. Go skatepark.org, and they've got basically it would be the skate park advocates Bible, and it runs you through absolutely everything. I also recommend their podcast as well. The two guys, Alec Beck and Pete Whitley. Alec actually reached out to me when I was feeling pretty burnt out about the advocacy in Pickering. They walk through like every step of how to approach council. Like, you don't just go up and be like, yo, build us a park. You can go to a council meeting and you just leave it as a suggestion. Not even as a, can you vote on this today? But if you plant that seed of, there are kids in this community who would like this in a particular area. Don't go in with like a particular spot that you want, because then the people around that spot will be the instant ones to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
With Elmira, I know it was Kyle Wilton, who's now in Excuses, his band. He went to Woolwich Town Council and just said, we want a skate park. And it's like, all right, go. So there was a lot to go after that. He was 13 at the time, so it doesn't matter how old you are. You can approach them and at least plant the seed and then work everything out afterwards.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just as easy as saying, oh, we want a skate park in this area. You have to actually put in the work, the effort. In Elmira, they actually did funding to get it, did they not?
Yeah, Ruby did so much.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's unfortunate because it should just be as easy as, hey, you put a ball diamond in this area, there's a soccer field in this area, how come there isn't a bike park or a BMX park or a skate park,
Proving the need is a big part.
Yeah.
So like, having petitions or even having groups of just getting together and taking pictures. Like, these are all the people who wanted to skate, or showing up at a council meeting as a mass group and just having one person stand up like, this is who I brought with me that shows we want this type of facility.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good point, And for a lot of cities, like for Kitchener, it's sad to me that we don't have more. Because like it is actually, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge is a big area.
Yeah.
Covers a very big area, and the parks are very, very, very separated,
I was surprised to find out what Waterloo has done in the back burner. So like they do have a future plan.
Yeah.
But right now you're still only at one park for Waterloo.
Yeah, it's so weird to me that
for
Waterloo
10
only
plus
has
years.
one. Yeah,
I have heard that there's three new like micro parks that are being or that are in the works right now. I know there's one. Is it the Albert McCormick Community Center that's supposed to be getting some kind of
maybe.
bowl or snake run or
Oh,
something
that'd be
like
I don't know.
that?
cool.
I just threw it up on the map. That was one of the most recent adds to the map.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a bike
Oh.
park. There's a whole bunch of stuff around the Rim Park.
Yep,
Oh, Rim
yep, that
Park
was another
area.
one.
Yeah.
That's cool
Yeah. So I
because
think
we
it's
ride that ledge all the time.
Oh yeah, and there was a third one that I
yeah.
heard
There's
about.
three.
I
but I
don't.
don't remember when or what it was either.
It was.
But I think I put the links. I added the links to it. So.
Yeah, let me try and pull that up.
To keep going on advocacy, the more research you do before approaching, once you get in front of a town council, like I did, I realized really quickly that when it came to skate parks, I was the smartest person in the room. There was a number of people who got up and spoke in opposition to the skate park when I got up, and they were all thanked for their time and they sat down and I got up and I gave my presentation and they proceeded to grill me. Wasn't expecting them to ask any questions, but I got about 6 questions from town council and had the answers for all of them. I don't know if you've had any advocacy experience.
I know when we were dealing with our the skate park that we had in Drayton, noise was a big issue, and I definitely agree. The more informed you are going into it, the better off you are. You know, you don't want to get up there and have questions and just kind of be left without an answer for them. It kind of looks,
Yeah.
it makes you look bad. You want to be prepared going into that because you have to present yourself as a professional and plead a professional case for it.
Yeah, and a lot of times if they say no, you can't go back for a year to make another case.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird that that's how it works, you know?
Got to play the game.
Yeah,
It's-
unfortunately.
And it's tough because like especially out in the middle of nowhere where kids are put into hockey when they're 3 or 4 or when they're young. You know, that's
Yeah.
kind of like that was hockey, baseball, soccer. Those were like everybody was into that kind of stuff. Nobody really did skateboarding. Nobody was in. You know, everybody had bikes and everybody built like dirt jumps
Yeah.
out in the fields and did that kind of stuff. But there wasn't a very big push for to have an actual place to go and do that. So trying to reach out to a bunch of hockey parents that there's more to
Yeah.
there's more to life than hockey.
Yes.
There's other aspects. There's other fields you can get into where you don't need to organize time to make it out to a field or to an ice rink. You can
Yeah.
just show up at a skate park by yourself and have a whole day's worth of fun, and you push yourself to. You're constantly pushing yourself to learn. You're constantly pushing yourself to be better than the last time you showed up.
Yeah.
It's a I don't know. It's a great opportunity for you to do something for yourself and just progress on your own.
Oh, absolutely. And
You
so I
found the map
pulled
there?
up the map here. This is where the proposed skate spot will actually be at Rim Park. I really like that it's through this little pathway here, so I hope it is like ending up there. Did you know where any of the other ones were? They should be marked, right?
Yeah, if you pull back, they should be in yellow in the Waterloo area.
Okay, let's
If
find out.
not, you may have to log into my account.
Oh, so here we go. There's another one. So this is a proposed bike park.
Yeah, if you
And
click on that, I should have made a link.
Okay, yeah, you did. So there's a link here.
It's always weird looking at it because I'm always looking at the version that I'm working on.
Yeah.
I never see the public version.
So let's see what this does. Oh, it was not found.
Ah,
I don't know if I did it wrong. That's okay. We will. Anyways, that's the area. So that's kind of cool. Do you know if it's gonna be a dirt area, tar,
I think that one was asphalt.
asphalt, pump track? That would be
Yeah.
really cool. I think that we need those in town. We don't have any right now. It's kind of cool that they're putting it out near Rim Park because that is a very developed area, or it's going to be developing. Like you can see on the map here that there's nothing over here, but it will eventually become a big area, I think.
I've worked in a lot of the newer subdivisions in that area, and it's definitely it's a growing area. There's going to be tons of new families moving there, and having a skate park in that area is going to be great for the kids.
So you were right, Nathan. They actually are doing something at this community center here. Um, you had posted, Scott, that this will be a proposed skate park as well, or skate spot, sorry.
And I
Um,
believe it's a bowl that they're planning on putting there, is it not? Or
I don't remember what each thing was between the three of them.
that's so cool, man. I'm really excited to see when all this stuff happens.
that's
you know?
right down the street from my apartment, so I'm stoked for that one to go in.
Yeah, and then there's another one down here at the Waterloo Public Library on Laurelwood and Barrington, I think.
Behringer.
Barringer. There we go. Ooh, that looks like it'd be a good spot because there's lots of open grass there. Skate spot as well. I like that you've included like bike spots as well, like bike tracks and
as I was
whatnot.
adding them over the past couple weeks, I would just zoom in on an area and put in skate park and see what I could find. And I used New Line's website as well as Skate Park Tour, which is really good for if you're more out west. And anything I came across that was kind of, I wouldn't say remotely related, but bike parks. I found one longboard park in BC. Started finding skate shops. I'm like, just add them. Like, it doesn't cost me anything to add them if it helps somebody
Yeah.
else out. The occasional time that someone's like, yeah, I found your blog and your map and it helps. Like, if it would help one person, it was worth the time that I put into it.
I can honestly say, like, we went and I can't think of the name. It's down the 400 somewhere. The new park. It's got a huge bowl.
Richmond Hill?
Richmond Hill. We went and checked that out after it was before their grand opening, and on our way back, we're like that was kind of the main event of the day. And then it was like, okay, well, we're going through all these cities, so we pulled up your blog and just checked out where these all or like what cities are we going through that have parks, and we hit a bunch on the way back, and like it's so helpful for road trips. Like if you have one destination in mind, you can pull up a map, figure out where you're going, and then go onto your blog and find all the parks along the way and see where you want to stop.
And fortunately, with Street View, you can see how garbage they are before you get there.
Yep.
I've tried to kind of color code them light green for like the not as good parks and dark green for like the good concrete parks.
So I'm gonna actually show. These are all that you put on here, right?
Yeah, everything on there is something I've put on.
So this is the map here, and this is just through like Canada as well as we've got a couple in the States here.
Yeah.
This is insane, dude. When you start to zoom in,
Yeah.
like
If
there's
it's red,
so
I've actually
many.
been there and skated that park. If it's
Wow.
green, it's something that I've discovered either through.
And yellow is proposed, right? Yeah, there is a lot of stuff here, man. That is really cool. It's a lot of work too. So shout out to you for doing that. You know.
I like to say like there's no place to skate isn't an excuse. There's always something. It might not be a good place, but there's something.
There is a place to skate for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, insane, man. I cannot believe the amount of work that you've put into this. That's awesome. So we'll jump back here. Let's see. So we were talking about skate paths and whatnot. I definitely would love to see that happen at some point. We talked about the basement ramp. That was awesome.
Yeah, the skate paths are great because you can fit them in areas that like it doesn't have to be a cube. It doesn't have to be a rectangle. Like it can be curved. It can fit along the outfield fence.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Like you can't put a basketball court there.
Definitely not. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the influence that you had when it comes to Pickering? Because it's not finished yet. They have one right now. Yeah, has it started, right? But yeah, we talked about the influence you had with Elmira and whatnot. You are from Pickering, so I think that you'd probably have a lot more when it comes to that. It sucks that it hasn't been done yet, but you can see that like council doesn't really feel like it's important at the moment, which sucks.
Yeah. So 2014, 2015, they proposed a spot on the west side of the city in behind a community center that had a youth room. They had an open house, and I didn't make it to that, but the public came out, and a lot of the public was in vocal opposition to it. No decisions were made at that time, and it went to the council meeting. So that was the first council meeting I spoke at. So nervous. And that was when I realized, like, they don't know anything about skate parks. So it was a group of maybe 6 skaters. I had my buddy from Whitby come and speak. There was another father of a scooter kid who came and spoke. The other group was a whole bunch of retirees because this was a Monday afternoon, right around 2 o'clock. Like, I was lucky to get 6 people,
Oh,
and that was
absolutely.
because I postered and flyered skate parks and skate shops from the edge of Scarborough all the way over to Whitby. Uh, so they showed up. I gave my speech, got asked questions, and instead of voting on the location, and I'll say the location that they proposed wasn't great because it was more hidden. And the problem with the current skate park is it is hidden. It's tucked behind the rec center in a park. It's surrounded by trees. You can't see it unless you go to it. Get a little closer?
Little tiny bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll work a little better.
Sorry.
That's all right. Hopefully I don't have to backtrack too much. But
No, you're good. You can still hear it. So.
all right. So because it was the spot that the city was proposing, I went with it. Didn't say anything about the negative problems that could happen with it. But the city, at that point, they decided not to vote on whether or not to put a park there. The mayor put forward a motion to create a skate park strategy for the next city budget, or when it's finished, whatever comes first. City budget being only about a month away, so it wasn't going to happen. The next summer, they had open houses where they were creating a full parks and rec strategy, and part of that was a skateboard strategy as a separate part. Spread the word, put out flyers again, got people showed up, and I had to try and get some of the people to not be hostile to city staff because we've had such a garbage park for so long. People are like, we don't have a skate park. Like, no, just here, you come over here and I'll talk to you separately, but don't go running up to like, city staff and telling them that their skate park sucks. They probably weren't even working here when the skate park was put in.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part too, is that a lot of people will get blamed for something that they weren't involved with, you know, and that's just part of the job, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. But continue.
But by having good numbers, we got our board of like post-it notes was filled up so fast and so thick that they had to start like getting new post-it notes out for us. So people wanted like, and people were good with what they wanted. They didn't just like badmouth the current park, but they made suggestions of we should have washrooms, we should have access to water, it should be in a highly visible location. You should go and check out X website because it has suggestions on how to make your skate park a success. In the meantime, the group that I am now the vice president of our neighborhood association, Pickering West Shore Community Association, one of our technical director, he went out and secured a government grant so that we could hire 2 summer students, one to design a sensory garden. So Pat came in and designed like basically a $10,000 project for a sensory garden, and we hired Sid to do a skate park concept for our neighborhood, but could potentially be used in any neighborhood in the city. So Sid did 8 weeks of work, created a really cool looking skate park for a spot that I had added to the list of possible spots for the city, which is of course right by my house, but I also think it's one of the best places for a skate park. Right at a community center, right on a main thoroughfare, 200 feet plus from the closest residence, so there you have the sound mitigants.
Oh, that's smart.
And it's not in an area that's part of a existing green space. The area had been bulldozed a couple of years prior and used as a parking lot for another project. So we're not tearing down any trees in a green belt.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
It's I think that's important too. You know, a lot of people, the excuses that they'll give to make sure we don't get one is ridiculous, and unfortunately trees are a big thing where if you start chopping them down, not just those people are going to be upset, but you know, you're going to have a bunch of environmentalist people that are going to be pissed. Like, you know, they are important, don't get me wrong, but I think that, you know, stuff has to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Stratford did a really good job of putting their park and their pump track around the existing
Yeah.
trees.
And I think that's a big thing too. Like when it comes to dirt jumping and like trail riding, I don't know if you listened to the trails episode with Ryan Reynard and Ian Noseworthy, but those guys, we talked about like, you know, building trails and whatnot, and that's a big thing that in BMX and, you know, dirt jumping community, they build around the trees
work
because
with the environment.
if you don't for one, you're gonna get caught really fucking fast, and two, you're just gonna make the area like really shitty. You know, there's a way to build around it, and I think that that's why trails became such a big thing back in the day, was because you have to use what you have. You know, you can't just start chopping down everything. Like, yeah. But yeah, continue on.
So in the meantime, I'd also created my own concept for the spot near my house, and both of those concepts, Sid and myself, were added to the skate park strategy. So the skate park strategy came out. I looked over it. I ended up having about 20 different edits that I suggested, and like everything down to spelling mistakes. Like, you're the city. You should at least get the spelling right, even if you're not getting the concept of the paragraph right. Presented that. It all got switched around. Everything came out. It went to the city. I went and spoke in support of it. We had a couple other skaters that showed up, and they said we support it as well. And basically, at this point, I feel like I'm speaking for all the skaters in the city. I would like them to show up a bit more, but when we're doing a skate park strategy meeting, they're at the skate park. At least they're not effing off doing drugs.
Yeah.
They're skating. Like, that's where they're going to be.
Yeah, and for anybody that's listening right now, if you want a skate park in your area, there is somebody in your area that is trying to get it done, and you need to find out who that person is, and you need to do whatever that person says in order to get it, you know? If they're saying, come to the fucking meetings, you know, do all this stuff, like, be a part of this, go and do it. It's important that you do that.
Yep.
You know, because, yes, you know, Scott, you're able to go in and say, hey, I have 100 skaters, BMX riders, scooter people that want this like this. Yeah. But unless you have those people with you, they're going to, quote, I guess, you know, call your bluff on it. Like, they're going to say, oh, well, you probably actually only have about 20 people, and you're saying that. You need to have the people there with you.
To pull the best Simpsons quote for the situation,
yes.
I'm just one man.
Oh, man, we love our Simpsons quotes here. Shout out to Chris Brown as well as Jeff Robertson. Those guys are huge Simpsons fans, and they were on the show recently. And then Beatrice, she even knows some, you know, Simpsons stuff, and she was in here recently too.
Yeah, that episode was sick.
Yeah.
So getting back to the strategy, I spoke in support of it. The majority of people who spoke in opposition to it were in opposition to the location that they suggested as a proposed location. So I don't know if you have it quickly pull-upable, but if you don't, don't worry
I can.
about
What
it.
are you looking for? Pickering?
Pickering Skate Park strategy is approved.
I will look it up.
So the New Line and Monteith Brown did the skate park strategy for us. It came out really good. They did a concept design that I really liked. And the suggested location was right in front of the rec complex, which is perfect. It's right across from City Hall. It's right on a very well-used thoroughfare. It should be far enough away to mitigate any sound from neighbors, but people came out and spoke in opposition to it. There's a seniors residence nearby. Well, what about the seniors? Well, don't walk through the middle of the skate park.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
The seniors know not to walk through the soccer field during a game. They should know not to walk through the skate park. Part of it was that they ended up replacing the roundabout at the front, and people were concerned with, how am I going to drop off my so-and-so?
Oh.
Like, well, park.
Yeah, it's not that hard. So this is it here. Pickering Skate Park approved.
Yeah.
Little hard to see for you guys watching, but Scott Loyst is a local resident, skateboarder, and advocate for additional skate parks in Pickering. Yeah, this is really cool. I suggest that anybody that is watching go and take a look at this on Scott's website, Scott Dreams of Skate Parks. It's got its own link on the side of the page there. New Pickering Skate Park info. So you should be able to take a look. It's the last photo on that page. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's got a little design there. That actually looks really cool.
If you hit the link just above that photo, I think that'll take you to the one that I'm thinking of.
Yes, most likely. Let's see here. This page here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the meeting. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
unfortunately, we can't get a full
I don't know where
photo.
Everything on my website is. But,
well, I mean, there's 1,000 things on it,
yeah.
so I don't blame you.
I just hit the mic. Did I ruin it?
No, you're fine. Don't worry.
So everything went well except for this proposed location, people speaking out against it. Even the best part was the original designer of the rec complex from the 70s showed up. He showed up, and I was not consulted about this change to the front of the rec complex. And being a democracy, anybody could get up and take up to 10 minutes to talk about whatever they wanted without being cut off, and people started just doing that. So that meeting went about 2 hours, and it was ridiculous. And eventually, designer wife guy showed up, or the designer's wife stands up and goes, I agree with my husband. I wrote his speech. I'm just sitting over there like, damn, dude, just write your own speech.
Yeah, it is kind of like, hey, why don't you speak from the heart about it, you know? Like, definitely write a speech, but don't get your wife to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whenever I do my scripts, I write everything, and then I have Taylor, like, check it and make sure it's spell checked and whatnot and grammar checked, and then she'll put in her stuff. But, like, yeah, that's a little strange.
So the skate park strategy went from executive committee, which was where I spoke, to council. There was only one other comment on it, which was the same thing. I support the whole strategy except this location. So the skate park strategy was approved with the stipulation of we do not approve of this location there, which then went back to, okay, so where are we going to put it? Well, the city had also been coordinating a downtown plan that included a youth center, senior center, residences, a redesign of the mall because the whole Sears wing is gone.
Shout out to Sears.
Yeah.
What the Sears?
And in all of that, they never planned for a skate park. So they've got all this planned development for the downtown core and not a single place available to put a new skate spot. The future plan also includes a north-south road that goes through the park and through the current skate park.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not getting built there.
No. So we can't even demolish the existing park and put in a new one. There's another spot that was thrown around that's basically, it's a dirt parking lot. But it's more valuable as a condo building than it is as a skate park.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Unfortunately, that is a big thing where even in town here, we're seeing old, you know, buildings that have been around for hundreds of years being just ripped apart and new condos are going up. You know, that was a big thing in the Shanley neighborhood near Travis's house.
Yep.
There's that old electrical building that, like, it's got very weird stipulations behind it. The, like, city was not able to sell it for, like, 10 years. There's like ground oil issues or something, but
Ground site.
yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with it, and they finally did sell it. And I think a lot of the residents in that area are very concerned that it's gonna be ripped out and replaced with a big condo building. And like, unfortunately, that's what's gonna happen, you know. And it sucks because all it is around there is just little tiny houses. Like, yeah, it's just crazy to think that that's like such a crazy thing now. You know, you can't build out anymore, you have to build up. So who knows, maybe we'll get a 10th floor skate park someday.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I've been in touch with city staff and the other councilors. So I've been suggested basically go back to square one to propose the West Shore spot, the spot near my house. In the meantime, at least the city staff are planning for skate spots in the developing area out, I guess the outskirts, what is called Seaton.
Yeah.
They're planning, like, there's 40,000 new homes going in there, so they're pre-planning where they will put skate spots so that the skate spot is planned and can't be opposed because it was always in the plan. Like, put it in when there's no residents can oppose it.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, actually.
But with that, it is hella slow.
Yeah.
So this is
It'll take a long time.
Yeah.
When do you think Pickering will actually get this park realistically? Do you think we're going to have a Kitchener situation where it was promised everything's done and ready to go, but we're just waiting?
The skate park strategy has been proposed for over a year. It was then everything went to budget. So there's the next phase. $1.1 million was budgeted for 3 skate spots, like 2 spots and a park.
Yeah.
Nice.
Seeing as we still don't have a location.
Yeah, it'll probably be a while.
We don't have a location in Black Ink. And now they are saying that, that 2020 budget was actually for the 2021 spending year. So we've got another year to at least plan. But if we're not planning, then we're not getting anywhere. And with uh, skateboarding supposed to be making its premiere in the Olympics this year, this is when I've been pushing for let's have concrete in the ground before Tokyo.
Very good point. You know, it is something where I don't know how you guys feel about the Olympics picking up skateboarding, freestyle BMX, and everything else. It's definitely, this is very interesting. I think that it's really going to change the way that skateboarding and BMX is looked at. Maybe not this year, maybe not 4 years from now, maybe not 8 years from now, but it'll definitely play some sort of role in it, you know?
Of course.
We're seeing right now within BMX with the UCI, which is like basically the Olympic cycling, whatever. You know, a lot of the kids that are riding in that, for us, you know, as BMX riders, it's hard to say that these guys are the best of the best because, yes, they're doing the hardest tricks in the game, but they're throwing style out of it completely. They're throwing course, you know, like your runs and the usage of the course out of it. Like it's all about consistency and style,
Yeah.
or not style, but consistency and the hardest tricks. Whereas like, you know, any other contest for the most part, it's all about, hey, what the hell? Don't bite me, man. Senna.
Bunnies.
I know, man. They'll get you. Nibbler bit my foot last night just out of the blue. She like came over and bit my big toe.
And it's got to let you know who's in charge every once in a
I
while.
know. It's so hard, man. Yeah, anyways, definitely.
I think to like the core riders like you or me and him, we're gonna absorb any skateboarding that's out there,
Yeah,
and what happens in it is not gonna change the way that we go out to the park.
Yep.
absolutely. I think that people are taking it way too hard. Like a lot of people are like, this is ridiculous. Like it's so much different. It's its own culture. And like, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, to me, anything that brings a positive outlook on skateboarding, BMX, anything is way better than not having it on there at all.
Yeah, like I have two Thrasher shirts. My wife got me the first one, and she got a quote from the now Thrasher editor on the back of, "We're just training for the Olympics, sir."
Nice. That's awesome. Oh man. I gotta run to the washroom. I gotta take a mean piss. So I'll let you guys just chat about skateboarding and whatnot.
That's
I'll be
gonna
back.
Piss in order.
Right?
Yep.
Oh man. I'll be
All right.
right back.
We're gonna jump to one of your other questions about favorite parks. So I want to hear about.
Yeah,
yours.
do it. That's actually what I have next.
Yeah.
So let's all give our top 5 favorite parks in Ontario.
As far as parks that I've ridden, honestly, like my number one is Elmira, just because of the amount of time that I've spent riding that park, and it's the closest park in this area that actually has like smaller features to get used to, like the little 3-set handrail that they have there,
Yeah.
and the 2 hubbas on either side. Perfect height. They're mellow. You can learn anything on it super easy. You're not gonna bail hard. You can't sack out on the rails. You know, it's really nice for learning things, and like I learned any handrail tricks that I know now I've learned on that rail.
Favorite trick to do there?
Oh, I love Smith grinds. I love crookeds. I don't know. I guess that's just because I've ridden there so often. That's definitely been my number one.
Yeah. Did you go to the grand opening day there?
I was there for the grand opening. Yep.
So I was there too, and I got just like a quick slasher over the stairs in the pool.
Oh,
And-
really?
And that it's not hard, but committing to it was the bigger challenge.
Yep.
But it's totally fun. Like, none of the pros were hitting the bowl during the demo.
Yep.
So me and this other guy that I just met there, I don't know if you know Dave the Beard.
Dave the Beard. Yep.
So shout out Dave the Beard. Yeah, nobody was riding the bowl, so we just started riding the bowl.
You know, and those guys, a lot of the older guys, they used to show up there before, because that bowl fills with water quite frequently now, and it's
Someone got to get a drain snake.
yeah, I think like I got a chance to ride it a couple times this past summer. Last summer I didn't ride it at all because there was always some water in the deep section, but like a lot of the time you see those guys, you'll show up on a Saturday or a Sunday morning and they're out there like 9-10 o'clock,
Yeah.
just with buckets emptying the pool so they can get a quick session in, and like it's cool that still happens. Like that bowl it's definitely a gnarly bowl to hit. Like
Yeah.
it's the transition's steep, but
like 5 foot with vert, and
Yeah.
then deep end, all pool coping. There's a death box.
Yep. It's a legitimate pool, and it's like there's nothing like that around here that you can ride with no consequences. So
Yeah.
like it's an awesome feature, especially for a town like Elmira to have. Like it's out in the middle of nowhere.
It does seem like it's out in the middle of nowhere when you drive to it.
Yeah, it seriously is. There's
All
nothing
right,
around
we're
there.
talking about Elmira. Where can I find the head?
Hell yeah. So just walk through the door there, and then on the right side, there's a door that has a Vans poster. When you open the door, straight ahead right there. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just open that. Watch your head. There's a light switch on the left side. Yeah, I have to tell everybody. 'Cause I'm like, otherwise people just go in there and the light's off, and they're just piss in the dark.
Yeah.
And having fun, man. I did that at some dude's house a couple of years ago. Yeah, the fucking power was out. I like just pissed everywhere by accident.
If you can find the bathtub, like you're golden. At least
Pretty
then
much,
you've got a
man.
wide range.
I know, I'm in the dark trying to wipe up piss off the fucking floor. Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Elmira is really cool because the pool coping, there's a lot going on there. Very steep transition.
I always recommend, especially like anytime I'm riding Waterloo and I run into like younger skater kids that are like, I'll be skating the handrail and they'll be like, man, like I'd love to do that, but I don't know how to get onto it. Like the rail's too big. It's like, go to Elmira, check it out. And a lot of the time when you send people who've only lived in cities to a small town like Elmira, because Elmira's out in the countryside,
It's a lot less pressure too because there's never anybody there.
There's nobody there, and it's like you're surrounded by Mennonites. There's horse and buggies that go by. They have like horse-drawn carriages that go around. It's a completely different culture, and you're at this brand new skate park, and everybody's just like, this is the weirdest thing. Like I know I've skated out there with people from Toronto and bigger cities, and they're all just like, it's the weirdest concept to have like such a new and like awesome skate park in the middle of this just country town.
Yeah, it's a really good spot, I love Elmira, and having like the way that it's set up is really cool because it's very long,
Yeah.
You've got the nice quarter pipe at the very end of it, that big one, and then that I think it would be technically kind of like a Euro gap, but like on the very far side towards the bowl, you have that bank with
Yep.
the flat, and then like the step up like a couple feet away. That's super fun. I mean, I've always wanted to gap out of that bank into the bowl.
I want to see somebody on a bike do it because I think it's totally possible. And
It's so doable, but it's so crazy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you still talking about Elmira?
Yeah,
So
I'll pull up a
Off
photo.
of the tombstone, off the bank.
Area. So sort of, you got the bank beside it,
Yeah.
off of that into the bowl.
Okay.
if
so-
you kind of hip transferred into one of the quarters on the side, like because
Yeah.
it does get a little mellower, closer towards the deep end.
Yeah, my go-to is always just a tail stall, like transfer over the tombstone and then go down the thing.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, here, I'll pull that up and I'll see if I can show everybody this gap that I'm talking about.
I'm actually gonna run and use the washroom as well. It
You
seems
know
like
where it
now's
is,
good a
right?
time as any. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Shouldn't have had all that beer and coffee and watermelon.
There you go. So I've got some photos here for everybody. Oh shit, what is going on?
Oh, so those ones with snow were like 3 days before my kid was born.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
That's insane.
I was out there on the 22nd or 23rd, and then he surprised us Christmas morning.
That's awesome. So yeah, this is the bowl at Elmira. The gap that I'm talking about is just on the other side of this. There's probably like a 2-foot section on top of here, and then a little drop down with about 5 feet, and then a big bank. And there's lots and lots of run up into it. So here's the bank actually. So you'd be gapping out of this bank over and into the bowl. I think that would be so doable on a bike, and I bet it would be really fucking cool. Here's the maple leaf that we were talking about earlier. You played a big part in this. It's really cool. I think that it was such an interesting thing to throw on there, but it makes sense. So
For Elmira, it made sense.
yeah.
I like the whole signatures in parks.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to have something that plays into it at least. So and shows the community. I wish that Kitchener had something like that because we don't. Like Fisher Park doesn't have anything that relates to Kitchener.
No.
You know, Waterloo doesn't. Like, the coolest thing we have at Waterloo and Fisher is those skateboard benches, and that's like a average thing now.
Yeah, New Line produced them. They're at a couple parks.
Yeah. So here's a couple more photos of Elmira. You get this little like pathway up here. I really like that it has his quotes there. All it takes is a vision. What is that next word? Insurance to a community to turn dreams into a reality. That's awesome.
There's another version.
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
There we go. Yeah, definitely.
And they're Ruby.
Oh yeah,
Ruby,
this has everybody's names in it, eh?
Yeah, so Ruby, my favorite story that she told was she had been a big part of other fundraising objectives in Elmira. And she was basically cold calling people that she knew who had money, like people who owned businesses. And she contacted one guy, and his response was, "You must be crazy if you think I am going to give money for a skate park."
That's so weird, eh?
Paraphrasing, but something along that lines. And so he actually took the time. He went out to either the Odd or the Waterloo Park and just watched.
Yeah.
And it changed his mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to see. You know, hopefully he went out to Waterloo Park and not the Odd, because, you know, most likely I'd be sitting at the Odd on my bike, drinking a tall can, hanging out, chatting to everybody.
Yeah.
It's
well, whatever he saw changed his mind. That was a like $750,000 park. That was all, as far as I know, all community fundraised.
Hell yeah.
Which park was this?
Elmira.
Oh, Elmira. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So moving on from Elmira, one of my top 5 parks in Ontario that we just mentioned, the Odd. Obviously, I love the Odd. So I'll pull up a photo of the Odd. Why don't you tell us about the first time that you went to the Odd, Scott?
Oh, is that on there? Do you already know the answer to this?
I don't.
Okay.
I just want to know, actually.
So we've mentioned I'm a paramedic. So some of the stuff that I've done outside of work has to do with work. So there's a group of us that have done a lot of big multi 3-day raves. And through that, companies that we've worked for, they did another set of events. One of them being at, what's it called? Bigman's.
Bigman's, yeah.
Yes.
I got stories about Bigman's. I'm not going to tell those.
So we did a 2-day concert event with a bit of a rave side at Bigman's. Met Andrew WK backstage.
Oh, nice.
And so I told them, like, I can only a night, but I got to take off some point on Saturday morning. So Saturday morning I take off, and like first stop is definitely going to be the Odd because I hadn't been there. I think that was around Park. I didn't even know. I want to say 103, but I could be off by 50 at this point.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I went there, and big fly out bowl. I had a good time, and then took off and visited my friend out by Baden.
Yeah, the Odd is incredible. I love the Odd. You know, it's so open. Like there's, you know, I love the fact that it's all obstacles that are very separated and put in different areas because it makes it a lot harder to flow through the park, but it makes it a lot easier just to hang out and practice something. You know, I've never had a session at the Odd where I can't just hang out and chill. You know, I love that about that park. You never have to go too hard. You can definitely, you know, this shit that I've done there has been the best riding that I've ever done. Like I 360'd over a car out of this bowl. Like right here, we parked a car and I 3'd over it.
I have to go back because as I've developed like a park that I thought was like shit before, like, oh, well now my skills have developed.
Yeah.
So I can definitely have a little bit more fun there.
Yeah, you should have got a better photo of those camel humps. Those have like pretty crazy history.
There's like a 11-minute documentary on YouTube about those humps I've seen, and like there's a lot of people in this area that have obsessed over those humps. Yeah.
Oh my god, they're great, man. They're awesome. They'll definitely the thing that I love about those humps, and it sucks because you can't really see a good photo of them here, but they are so very like hard to ride in a way that, like, yes, they're small, but the way that they'll kick you, at least on a bike, oh my god. Like, if you don't get the right pop, you're going over the bars. I've watched a dude lose all 4 of his front teeth because he fucking hit it, and then he hit his front tire on the other side and, like, knocked himself out. You know, I called the ambulance for that. Like, just the things that I've seen there, they're hard to ride. They're not easy. They don't look intimidating at all until you actually like try and gap them. You're like,
No,
oh my
I think I
God.
rode over it and immediately fell.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
they're hard to ride, and I think that they're so. Whenever you see somebody riding those, it's instant that you'll like get respect at that park, which is really cool. But like I was saying earlier, the park is so open; it's hard to have good flow in there. I've definitely heard from people, since I've been riding there for like 8, 9 years now, that I have some of the best flow in the park, and that definitely is awesome. Chris Johnson, he was listening earlier. He thinks that I'm like one of the only people that can flow through that park because it's hard to ride. Everything's so separated,
Yeah.
But the nice part about everything being separated is you can kind of like you and a group can ride one feature and you're not getting in somebody's way.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
anytime,
big thing about the odd.
whenever we go and we're hanging out with like all the BMXers there's always a bunch of skaters in the back corner that are riding like the pyramid or the like the ledges back there,
Yeah.
or there's a group riding the rails, and it's like you can flow around and hit anything else and you're not in their way, you're not disrupting them. It's nice in that sense.
Yeah, and then local group of skate park vigilantes went out and they built their own ledges there, and the city ripped them out. And I'm not going to name names about these people at all, but those people really wanted those ledges there, so they went and they talked to the city, and they actually went out there and had those ledges built. So there's 2 new ledges at that park that are just like they're 12 feet long. One's 14 inches, one is 18 inches high, and they're super good just to be able to go and session. I don't know, just a nice little pop-up. So, yeah.
Simplicity rules.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
They're great. That was something that I brought up at the Upper Canada Park, was that those people did that. And somebody was like, those ledges suck. And I'm like, well, they're better than nothing. Like, they're
It's
better
new
than
features.
what was there before. It was a cinder block ledge before, and it got ripped out of there real quick. Like, fucking sorry about her, bud. Oh man. Yeah, so another one of my top 5 is Bracebridge Park. I'll pull up a photo of Bracebridge. Have you ever seen Bracebridge?
I actually saw Eric Weir's BMX Taxi. Shout out to BMX Taxi.
BMX Taxi.
I saw he had a thing on Facebook from a bunch of skate parks that he had visited, and that was the one that stuck out to me because it's got like a bridge going over a little like ditch section, which I guess is filled with garbage now, which is kind of disappointing. But like, I don't know, it's just a very unique park that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, from the looks of it at least. I don't know, it looks like a really cool park.
Yeah, so I got photos pulled up here.
Yeah.
Here's that bridge that you were talking about in the corner there. I went and rode this last year after Taylor and I finished camping. This is near kind of the Muskoka area. So, we stopped off at Muskoka Brewery, had a couple pints, and then came out here, and this is really cool. I tried to down whip this hip over there, which is really neat. That's that little bridge again. They had a really cool bowl. I really wish that we had a park like this, because it's simplicity,
Yeah.
but it's perfect. Like, it has flow, it has everything you need. The transitions are actually really good there.
It's really well built. This was probably the park that probably got me to reach out to Spectrum, the skate park
Hell
designer,
yeah.
first, because I've been to a lot of their parks, and at that point their website was still missing pictures of Turner Skate Park in Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
And I'd been to a bunch of their parks that I only had the location, but they didn't have pictures up. So when I get to this one, they didn't have pictures, and my only criticism of this park is if you end up with any part of a wheel going under that bridge,
Oh, you're fucked.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
You could have created the bridge element with a bit of a dome in that area, painted it blue, done something.
Yeah.
But I just said, like, this is the only thing I see as a skater. If you were heading towards there and you panic, you're going to knock your teeth out on the bridge.
Oh yeah.
And they reached, and to Jim Barnum, his credit, he emailed me back right away. Like, I didn't think of that. Like, cool. Well, here's a shit ton of photos. Please put them on your site so that people can see the parks that you do, because they're awesome.
Yeah, Spectrum is super underrated. No offense to New Line, but I love New Line. They're great. The parks they make are awesome, but they are very, very, very skater biased. At least from what I've
I'm
felt.
gonna hurt your feelings.
Yeah, fair enough. Go ahead.
New Line and Spectrum have partnered, and Spectrum is no more. Jim is now a New
Oh
Line employee.
No way.
Yes.
that sucks, man.
My,
I mean, not heartbroken, but I don't know. I've just always felt that when it comes to the skate parks that they're building in our area with New Line, they're very, very, very skate oriented.
That's why you need to have the community that's actually going to use the park.
Oh yeah. Well, we showed up with like way more bike riders than skaters the one time, and they still pandered to skating.
Yeah. Sometimes that's hard. Like,
Yeah.
I've gone, like, because I went to the Fisher one. I'm not there to direct the way that the park is going. Like, I'm more, if I'm going to a design session for a park that's not going to be my local, I'm more or less looking for bad ideas and being like, hey, maybe you want to consider doing this here instead because of whatever reason.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Rockmosa, like, you've been there. The place where there's the tabletop with the high rail.
Yep.
That rail was supposed to go all the way down into the mini ramp area.
Oh.
I don't know if they changed it because of my suggestion or cost, but I reached out and, like, if anyone's doing flyouts from the quarter pipe onto the bank,
Yeah, they're gonna get fucked up.
yeah, you don't want that rail there.
Yeah.
So I made that suggestion.
Unless you're really good and you're able to go from the quarter pipe onto the rail and down.
Did you see the rodeo flip to Smith at Tampa?
No, I didn't actually.
Good Lord.
I might pull that up here.
So yeah, I reached out to a coworker who lives in the area and, like, maybe they'll take it a little bit better from you because you actually live there. And in the end, the rail was chopped for I don't know what reason, but it's a benefit to the whole skate park.
I remember as a kid, I know on the Barracks website they used to do a segment called Certified Piece of Suck, and it was basically it was a bunch of skate parks that had really bad
Yeah.
And you just look at it and you're like, it blows your mind how that was how it was a concept, people thought about it and they went through with it, like, you know,
Yeah.
benches in the middle of quarter pipes or
Yeah, flat rails in the middle of nothing.
I cannot find it, sadly. Sorry.
Instagram, not the Barracks. True Skate Mag.
Okay.
Instagram's handle. Yeah, so one of the parks that I took a picture of that's in Burlington. Burlington has a lot of stuff. I'll call it stuff. They've got the one really good park at Nelson that I'm sure you guys know.
Yep.
That's got the large snake run. They've also got a lot of smaller spots.
That I didn't know, actually.
Most of them are garbage. One of them is a rainbow rail and a metal bench. And it's on a crummy asphalt pad that's also a basketball, like, got a hoop on it. I went out there one morning after a night shift, and the rail was so sticky I couldn't even do, like, a slappy across it, so I hippie jumped it and left because I wasn't about to go. I'm not walking back to my car to get wax and walking back to this thing. It shows up on Certified Piece of Suck. Like, yep, that's about right. And sadly, that is about the worst park I've seen. And comparing it to those other ones on Certified, like just the rainbow stairs of death or the vertical half pipe to bench.
Yep.
Is this the clip here? Was it like brand new, just came
Yes.
out? Okay, here.
Sorry, it's small.
Yeah, sorry guys. Oh, that's cool.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, it's small. I didn't mean to do it that
Sorry.
way.
When the show's over, go on Instagram. It'll be there.
It's on True Skate Official. It's the first post 15 hours ago. That is crazy.
That's
yeah,
gnarly.
that Tampa contest is insane, dude.
Yes.
Like, always the craziest shit going on there. Yeah, so I'll pull up this park again. So with Bracebridge, I really, really like this little hip section into this quarter. So I did like a nice 270 on this and then T-bog to fakie. I don't think I even uploaded that video, but just something for my Instagram. This is a really fun little section, you know?
Yeah.
I love the fact that it is set up like that. I would recommend that you come out to, you know, Muskoka Brewery with me, and we checked that park out.
I've wanted to go there for the last like 5 or 6 years. I would definitely like to.
Hell yeah, we'll make a trip out there this year. We'll do that area.
Muskoka's fun. There's an old park in Bala that nobody ever seems to go to. That's got a concrete picnic bench.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna pull up Saugeen Shores, aka Port Elgin. So Port Elgin's another one of my top 5. Do you guys have any other ones?
So I get asked this by my coworkers, and it's a hard thing. So I always say Campbellford is my number 1.
So here we'll look at Saugeen Shores, and then I'll pull up some Campbellford. So Port Elgin Park, it was just over $1 million to build, I believe. Right next to the cop shop. So unfortunately, if you're underage and you like to vape, you'll 100% get, harassed by the police. I watched, Dan from Baden with his ramp.
Yep.
Yeah. So he and his kids were there the one weekend that I was there, and I guess that his son had a vape. And the cop came over and harassed him about it and took his vape away.
Oh, wow.
Dan was like, "Well, I didn't even know you had it, so you're not getting it back. Sorry about her."
Probably better off that way.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the nice concrete picnic table there. I love the fact that it is concrete. You've got a lot of options. You can go up into if you're a skater, a 50 or backlip, whatever, onto it. I really think that this is a really interesting idea for a park. You've got the box jump over here. This middle section is set up really well. I really like to go over the rail and onto this bank from the box jump. It's a lot of fun.
It's the only outdoor park I've seen that's got that quarter to separate box.
Yeah.
It's not a tombstone, it's separate.
Yeah, like a big sub wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that
you
thing,
would know
right?
what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sub wall is what they would call it. So you've got a sub box, which would be really short, but that, because it's so tall, you can wall ride it. It's definitely something you don't see very often. I've always thought about doing a fufanu on it. That would be insane.
That'd be really cool.
So fufanu is go up back tire stall on it and then hop off and go back in forwards. Whereas an abubuka is you go up, you do it, and then you roll back fakie. So you'd be going backwards into it. Yeah, I've always wanted to do something on that. This little stair set here. I like the 3 block.
It's a nice big 3.
This set is a lot of fun. I remember skating that as a kid.
Yeah, this was probably as I learned doing 50/50s on down hubbas, so it's nice because it's not really that intimidating.
Yeah, and it's a really good setup for it. There's lots of run in, lots of run out. There's never anybody that sits over there or anything, so you're fine.
And it's got the kinks at the bottom, so it's a learning curve with that as well.
Yeah, the kinks are really cool. They're fun on a bike because with a bike, when you land on the kink, you've literally got your front tire on it, and then you have to pull off of it, and then your back tire will hit it. Your front tire won't even be on the ledge anymore.
Yep.
So, really cool. You said Campbellford?
Campbellford.
So I'll show off your site a little here. Obviously, it's a little too pixelated for you guys, but each, it's got all of Ontario that you've got logged at the moment.
Yeah. The blog title is officially Spot Dreams of Skate Parks, which is my nickname, Spot the Looney.
So how did you get that name, by the way?
So in high school, this one guy in my bio class just kept calling me Spot, and I didn't care. He was the only one calling me that, and I was friends with him, so sure, whatever. Then I babysat for some kids, and a couple nights later, they're like, "We like Spot," to their parents. They had no idea what they were talking about. So it ended up coming at me from 2 angles, so I just ran with it. So when I was when I was heavy in the rave scene, I would have bags of toys, and I'd give them out, and everybody's like, "Oh, Santa's!" It's and then I found out there's already a Santa Steve, a Santa Mike. There's already 5 Santas in the Toronto rave scene. No, I'm Spot the Looney. I'll go with that.
Hell yeah.
So it just stuck. So when my partner at the time started the blog, she used my regular name, and I titled it the Spot Dreams of Skate Parks, because if you search Scott Dreams of Skate Parks, you would never find it back in the day, because Dreamland Skate Parks out of the Pacific Northwest was Mark Red Scott. So it just got buried. So by using the Spot tag on it, made it more accessible.
Yeah. So here we've got Campbellford Park. This looks very cool. I've never been here before.
Yeah.
Um,
So the overall of the park, it is in a beautiful park right down on the Trent River, or at least the Trent Waterway. There is a shade structure. There is a canteen and washrooms there.
oh my
Nice.
God.
There's a
Roof into the
splash
bank.
pad and other stuff for other people. So that whole quarter pipe isn't very tall, but it's hand done pool coping.
Nice.
The ledge that's at the bottom of the screen there has metal on one side, has granite on the other, and it's actually supported on two stones that they excavated from the site when they were
Oh.
getting ready.
Nice.
Easily accessible, not huge.
How far is Campbellford from this area, you think?
So from Toronto, it's an hour 40.
Okay.
You drive to the Big Apple and then drive north.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's why we have never been there. It's so far. Cannington is a park I've never seen, but I want to go to. Have you been to Cannington?
Yes.
I'll pull up some photos of that after.
So the fake rock and real rock as a little bank. So you can do a stall on the real rock.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Here's that
That's a
ledge that
ledge.
you're talking about.
I like when they incorporate stuff like that, like with the new Allura Park that they have the
Yes.
Tooth of Time bank on the one side.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, this is really cool, man.
Uh,
Ooh, nice slant wall.
Yeah, so that is actually pretty short. It's more of a Jersey barrier, and if anybody who knows me is listening, like they know I hate Jersey barriers because if you go to some parks, some modular parks, there's a Jersey barrier, but no actual quarter pipe.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, well the Jersey barrier is cheaper, but and it looks the same to a non-skater. So this Jersey barrier is actually topped with granite. It's got the middle section is actually less transitioned, so there's a little thing that
Ooh.
you can gap over, and it's a full park, so I don't mind this one being there.
Yeah.
This is me, I'm park snob now.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, this park looks like a lot of fun. Oh, look at that
And then
bowl.
this is the bowl. So the section closest
wow.
to us is the mini ramp. It's a perfect mini ramp, but if you go through that pocket, it's a little bit of a tighter transition, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. The deep end, I think, goes to just either vert or slightly over vert. And again, there's more faux rock. There's this little rollout
Nice
section.
little vert wall.
Yeah, the vert wall is a nice tall bank, and it's topped with granite as well. And then in the shadow to the right of it, I have to check my rights and my lefts. Yeah, there's a little love seat pocket, so you can carve
Nice.
over.
Nice.
Oh, I see it right in the corner there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really cool, man.
So my favorite story of going to skate parks is this park. I went there just on a nice October day. I get there, I go back to my car, grab something, go back into the park, and all of a sudden there's a senior citizen standing at the park. He's like, "Oh, what do you think of this park here?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I haven't really got to ride it yet. I just got here, but it looks pretty nice." "Yeah, me and the missus thinks it's great. We came in from, Belleville, wherever they used to live, and the park there is so good, and we thought the kids here should have something to do besides drugs." And he was just so stoked on a skate park that he didn't even use.
That's awesome.
You're muted.
There we go.
There
That's
he is.
awesome. Yeah, not muted anymore. Yeah, that's really cool, especially when you see the community that really enjoys it, you know. I pulled up Cannington here. Cannington is insane. I've always wanted to ride here. It looks so fucking cool. So we'll scroll through these photos. Yeah, so little section over here, kind of street, and then in the back there they've got these really cool humps.
Oh, nice.
That looks like a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah.
I would love to just gap like one of these and then hit this into there. I bet that there's like unlimited lines, you know?
Oh, for sure. And there's a spine going from the top section down, so it's like a 2-level spine. There's a roll in, and basically there's 2 wings
I
that
love
come off
this.
the park.
Like in that corner there. That's fucking cool.
So the story I heard
yeah.
about this park was it was completely funded by some guy whose son was a pro or
Oh,
something
wow.
like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the ledge with the like rollers on the side of it. You don't see that ever. Yeah, really cool park. I want to try and make a trip out there.
Do you know who the pro was?
Not a clue.
Not a clue.
This is third-party stories. So
Yep.
It was some guy who used to ride with Tony Hawk, and I'm like, that's 90% of the the old skater story.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to
But-
ride with Tony Hawk.
Yeah, but the A-frame with that super long ledge is just
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh my god, yeah. It's really cool when you see an A-frame ledge that is so mellow and so long like that, you know?
You'd like the Montreal one that we hit this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I meant to pull up photos of P45. I'll have to do that later.
These inside outside, like almost a planter ledge,
That's really cool.
like
That's
pop
neat.
over.
Yeah, we got to go there. We'll bring Eric because he would love this. Like
Oh.
this section here, he'll fucking ride that all day.
Pop over ledges are really cool.
Yeah.
And they're rare in skate parks.
Oh, absolutely. You never see it. That's really cool. This section here, I like that it has multiple different areas that kind of go off on its own, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to ride the main park, which is nice.
It's really, like, I find, because I'm always on Google Earth, this area has still not been updated in the 10 years that this park has been here.
Really?
So
Wow.
if you look at the Google Earth view, maybe in the new 3D view, but it's still just a blank field.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then you've got another photo here. This little pyramid thing, like right there, looks really cool. Yeah, those like, I don't know, man, those humps into the like that little wall section, you don't see that ever. Like, it's nice to see that that's actually something that they're using and doing.
It's nice seeing skate parks that aren't, cookie cutter, the same features.
Yeah. Oh, and then
And
this
that was
is like,
that was the original park.
that's cool. Dude, look at this fucking thing.
That looks
I
like
know.
a lot of the stuff that we used to build when we first started our skate park.
I did manage to get a rock and roll on that, so I could say I've skated it.
That's sick.
Then I got chased by some guy's dog.
Oh my god. Yeah, you could not ride this on a bike. I don't think it would be possible.
Oh,
It's
sure
just
you
so
If you have front brakes, you could come up and do like a little bit of a nose
Oh,
wheelie
nose
and
pick.
fake.
yeah. Yeah, that looks insane. Yeah, that's Cannington. So we've done quite a few of these so far. Do you got a park you want us to bring up, talk about?
I've only been once or twice now. I know it's the big one for Toronto, Ashbridges. I love skating
Ashbridges? I'll pull
Ashbridges.
that one
Yeah,
up.
pull that one up. I am not a big fan of Ashbridges. Just I don't know why. It just doesn't do it for me.
One second. It's in the Toronto section, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Toronto and then Toronto East. I tried to make Toronto a little bit easier because there is about 25 different things.
It's
on it.
26 listed. East of Young.
East of Young, hence the first one there.
Yeah, so
That
we've
bowl
got
is pretty fun. They do have an Ash Beat Bowl competition every year.
Yeah, that one's a big one.
They reached out to me to provide medic services, but I wasn't available. But fortunately, they got some good people at a good price.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so we've got this very big deep bowl, and in the photos it's going to do it no justice. This deep end here is about 10 feet with pool coping. Very gnarly.
You don't
Very,
drop
very
in
gnarly.
that bowl unless
Yeah.
you know how to get out.
Yes,
Oh, absolutely.
There is
Oh, and this is
Cummer.
yeah,
Oh,
this is
so
Cummer.
go
So
back to the main page, and you can click into Ashbridges. So
oh,
on the
okay,
blue
I
at the
see.
top.
There we go.
So I didn't take that photo. I found that photo. I don't know who took that photo, but thank you to whoever took that photo.
And there's more stuff along the side here now. They have like a pathway here, I think.
There's an asphalt pathway now.
So there's a path along the side of the park because they've also put in a rugby pitch. And what I'm told by the Toronto Skate Committee is lights are coming this year.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
My thing with Ashbridge is like just from I when I was younger I was always interested in skating stairs and skating handrails, and they have they have small sets that progressively get bigger.
Yeah.
So you've got somewhere to learn, and then you can go move on to bigger feature or bigger obstacles from there.
Yeah, there's definitely Ashbridges is very cool. It's hard to get a very good photo of everything because it is so big. You
Yeah.
know, when you're actually there, there's typically like 100 people there skating
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
biking. This is never an issue. I've never
Showing
had
me
an
these
issue.
photos. I need to go back and get more detailed photos.
Yes,
'Cause,
please do.
When they put in the bowl, they put in an additional stair set.
Yep.
There's the gap as you go through. There's the noodle, which I've even done modifications, not to that, but design modifications of how it could be a little bit better, easier.
Right.
you can't really see it, but they replicated Commerce Court, which is an actual street spot in Toronto, which I understand is a pretty quick bust. Uh, but it's a like small 3 set up and a 6 down off the back of it. So
Oh
they
yeah.
recreated this iconic Toronto street spot here. The other thing that if you scroll through one of the photos, I think the second one, that is supposed to be kind of a replication of the Skydome Banks, which were really famous before they did
Oh
the
yeah,
Steam
yeah,
Whistle
yeah.
Brewery
Yeah, I know
refurbishment.
what you're talking about. Yeah, that's actually really cool. I didn't know that that's where those were from. Very cool. Yeah, lots of good stuff here.
Yeah,
So let's show off. I want to show off Comer Park because we were talking about that earlier.
yeah.
I really like that park.
I've
So
actually never heard of Cummer before.
Cover was one of the first concrete parks in Toronto. It was one of the last Victor Ford and Associates parks, which are a landscape architecture firm. They did Beasley, they did Pickering, they did Bowmanville. I think they had a part in the Odd.
Oh,
They're,
okay.
they're that kind of boxed off quarter pipe is very typical of their things. So Comer is one of theirs. It's about the
yeah,
only place that you'll find a 5 set with 10 feet of flat before there's a drop off into a bowl.
yeah,
Oh.
it's very ridiculous.
What?
Like this little kink ledge here, you never see that at a skate park. And I wish that it was my regular side, but it's not, so I have to go up it. Still very cool. This bowl is really fun, and it's got this nice little transition bank here. I was doing like turn down gap into that T-bog. I wanted to 450 it, but it was a little gnarly, so I didn't do that. Yeah, just lots of good shit, man. And then back over here, they've got like this ridiculous box jump area. Very steep transition. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, really hard to ride, but dude, that's what makes Comer Park Comer Park.
Yeah.
You know? Very cool. Do you have a park you want to shout out? Let's do one more each, because I think that would be enough of them.
Probably, and probably too much. Let's choose.
I know, it's hard, eh?
Let's go with Oshweeken
Okay,
in
let me find
Ontario.
that.
Or do you want to do the Forks? We could do either one of those two.
Up to you. Go ahead, whatever one you want.
Let's go with Oshweeken
Okay.
because it was a surprise find and really nice.
Let's see here. Six Nations, right?
Six Nations Skate Park.
Okay, so this is really cool already. The sign. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Even though it's damaged, which sucks.
Yeah.
So this park, I reached out to them because I wanted to know more, because this is in a First Nations area. Wanted to know the history about not only the park, but the stuff in it. So if you go ahead one or two, so it's right at the community center. It's lit. They have solar powered lighting that lights up the park after dark.
Hell yeah.
The brick is all like, not memorial, but donors, like people who gave money to the park. They've got their names in that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Ooh, that's really
Nice little taco.
Yeah. You've got a little
Yes.
Euro gap.
So yeah, I've seen more of these where the Euro gap isn't boxed but more scooped.
Yeah.
Which I really like. So if you case it, you're not gonna die like you would on a regular Euro. And then this wide ledge, it's wide enough to do board slides on, but also like, or I guess it's narrow enough to do board slides, but wide enough that you can lock a 50-50 or another grind on.
Yeah.
And it goes up a bit. So I was going up it from the Euro. And then the flat section there is actually a bit down.
Oh,
So
that's
it just
cool.
changes it, just like it's a slight change that makes it interesting.
Yeah. And then
And that is actually a stone ledge.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
really cool.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
That's nice.
I like the use of the quarter to bank back there.
That was fun. That was
Yeah. And then you've got like a nice steep quarter there into
With
a
the
grass
extension
hill.
there.
You could do like a nice 270 table on that on a bike.
And then
Oh.
that is their signature feature. So that is the wampum belt. I reached out. I don't have all the information in front of me to tell you more about it, but they're important to the First Nations.
Yeah.
They have a much more description in some old correspondence I have with them. So that was done. They couldn't find the right tile to do it. They couldn't find the right color for the purple. So it was sandblasted with a stencil
Oh.
and then hand painted. And
Really?
it
Wow.
sounds like pool coping when you go over it. And it's perfect for if you want to try and grind over it like it's a death box, or just get that sound of brrr.
That's neat.
That's really cool. A little A-frame rail, very mellow A-frame rail too, which is really cool. And there's a very good photo of the like top of the ledge there, just to show that it is granite. Interesting, eh? I really like that roller. You don't see that, like a roller with a ledge beside it.
Yeah, that's neat. That's a nice feature.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell this was one of your favorites because there's 15 photos of it.
That was a great day. Oh, what can I
Yeah.
tell you about that day? So that day I took a personal day and left work, hit up the dirty old mini ramp in Hamilton and a few other parks. So that was the destination. So after the dirty Hamilton mini ramp, headed out there, hit that park, skated it for a while. Then I went to Caledonia, Cayuga, and Dunville before I headed home. When I got home, that's when I found out that a house had exploded in the area that I work in.
Uh-oh.
Oh! So, things seem to happen where I work when I'm not there, which I love.
Yeah, that's great, you
Yep.
know? Yeah, so let's jump into some of the paramedic things. Has being a paramedic ever come in handy at a skate park?
A couple times. So I was at CJ's before it moved locations, and there was these two guys that were just completely riding out of their league. At one point, they both dropped into the mini bowl, and they just did this perfect, like, I can't lift my arm up, but boom, right in the middle. Like, you guys are like, it's not big enough to be a true person bowl.
Yeah.
Plus, you guys don't have the skills. So I took off. I went into the other room, and I'm hanging out there. And I didn't know that they'd taken one of the back ways up to the 30-foot roller for the foam pit.
Uh-oh.
So I'm waiting to do like the street section, and one of them comes down and kind of slides out. And it's like, whoa, whoa! I'm like, don't really pay any attention to it because he didn't bail hard.
Yeah.
Well, next guy goes, boom, face plants the quarter.
Ooh.
When I ride,
Fuck.
when I ride after work, I'm typically still in my paramedic pants, and I've taken my t-shirt, like my work shirt off, but I'm still in a t-shirt that says paramedic across the back, and sometimes I've taken that off, turned it inside out.
Yeah.
But I'm looking around, and this place is all cameraed, and nobody's showing up, and I'm like, ah. So I go over, his buddy slides down the 30, I'm like, go to the front desk, tell them what happened, ask them for the first aid kit.
Yeah.
So he takes off, they come back with the first aid kit, and this guy, he's going to need stitches above his eyebrow.
For sure.
Like, we walk him out to the front. Like, oh, where do we go? Like, okay, hang on. Can I use your phone? I phone up our dispatch center and find out if the urgent care, rather than sending them to Emerge, can accommodate the stitches that he needs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, here's the address. Go here. Don't go to Emerge. You do not need to go to Emerge. Go here.
Yeah.
They will give you stitches. And CJ's hooked me up with a free pass.
Oh, hell
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. When I worked at All In, when I originally got the job, this kid broke his chain when he was like going down a bank and got the sprocket in his leg and literally cut like a monster symbol, like, you know, the M with the crazy like thing,
Yeah.
literally exactly like that into his fucking leg. And like the kid was freaking out, and I don't know, I was able to calm the kid down and just be like, man, just relax, you'll be fine. Like, you're gonna have to get stitches, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, just don't freak out, don't really walk on it, just, you know, go to the hospital. And like, I don't know anything about first aid, but damn, dude, I could not imagine like the shit that you probably deal with. I don't want to hear about it, you know? It's
No,
gotta be
that's usually
insane.
people, what's the worst thing you've ever seen?
Oh,
it's not
man.
the worst thing I've seen. It's the worst thing I've smelt.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, that's well, I'm like, I don't know how much of it you can really tell us, you know? I don't know.
So, as for PHIPAA, privacy,
Yeah.
I can tell you a story about a call, but I can't tell you where it takes place.
Okay.
I can't tell you about the person or the individual.
Fair. So why don't you tell us just one thing, I guess?
Like one story?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you this story, and I'll change some names, because this is one of
Please do.
This is one of my favorites. We get called, and I'm going to use a lot of jargon, and I'm not going to correct it.
No, that's okay.
Code 4 of VSA, Convention Center, Mississauga. We get there. There's an off-duty firefighter doing CPR. This guy is dead. He was supposed to be setting up the photography booth for a wedding after party, and he dropped at the doorway. So firefighters doing CPR, some girls holding his tongue. And I am in different mode. I'm not Scott when I'm responding to a critical call. I am laser focused and somewhat abrupt. Like, get your fingers out of there.
Get your fucking fingers out of this dude's mouth.
Yeah. Like, tongues are firmly attached to the bottom of your mouth. They're not gonna swallow them. They may occlude an airway, but right now this guy's got bigger problems than an airway occlusion. So we get him on the stretcher, put the defib pads on, shockable rhythm, we shock him. We get a pulse back, but because of protocol, we continue CPR, but we move him to the ambulance because there we can have privacy, we can work. When we get to the ambulance, okay, he's got a pulse. He's got an actual pulse. It's not just a rhythm on a monitor. He's got output, which means his heart is actually beating and pumping blood to his body. So now we're assisting his ventilations. My partner, Neil, the guy who did the knee at Park 100, hands me the glucometer. I take the glucometer. This is to check a blood sugar. I throw it. We don't check blood sugars in a VSA. Because we don't. See, these are stories that are only funny if you're a paramedic.
No, I get it, man. Yeah.
All right. So we go to take his blood pressure, and as we do, we just watch the monitor go back into a non-life-saving rhythm. Like, he's cardiac arrest again. Start CPR. We get another shock in him. At that point, it's time to go. That's protocol. One re-arrest and you go. So my partner gets in the front. I've got 2 firefighters in the back. We do another 2 minutes of CPR as we start going. All I know about this guy is his name is, let's say, Steve. It wasn't Steve.
Yeah.
But all I know is Steve is diabetic. That's all I know about this guy, and we're about to pull in, like, go to a hospital.
Yeah.
They're going to ask me name, birthday, everything. So we're going along, and okay, so 2 minutes are up. We stop CPR, check for a pulse. Like, okay, there's a pulse. Is he breathing? Yeah, he's actually breathing on his own. Like, okay, so just assist his ventilations. I'm going to make sure, like, everything else is set up. All of a sudden, he just sits up.
Whoa.
So we haul him back down. Like, open your eyes. He opens his eyes. Like, open your mouth. I'll take that airway out, because we put in an airway adjunct to keep the tongue off of the back of the mouth. Opens his mouth. What's your name? Steve. Oh my God, this guy's talking.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. Most of the time, if you get someone back, they're comatose.
Yeah, they're
days.
Yeah.
So this guy's alert and talking. Like, what's your last name? Gives me his last name. What's your... Like, I'm jotting this information down so fast in case he re-arrests. Like, what happened? Like, there was a medical emergency and we're taking you to the hospital. Was I in a car accident? No, I was a little bit more concerned with the way you dropped dead. That's not funny. No, Steve.
No,
it
it's
isn't.
not. Like, you literally just dropped fucking dead.
If you did not do that at a wedding, you would not have survived.
Jesus.
So, due to the hypoxia and the confusion, he was asking repetitive questions. He was asking about his wife. I'm like, the police are driving your wife to the hospital. Was she in an accident? Like, no. You had a medical emergency. We're taking you to the hospital. We get to the hospital. We go into one of the recess rooms. He is now alert and talking to us with pretty much no gear on him. He still has the defib pad stuck to his chest as protocol, and he has an IV. But he's otherwise chatting with us and cordial and joking. And they say the doctor, I imagine it was a resident and an intern, it's like, are you sure he was VSA after I give his history? And I show them the strip of where we shock him. Like, oh yeah, diabetes doesn't do that. I'm like, yeah, diabetes does not do that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
So he looks over at the hospital Gertie and he goes, you want me to move over there? No, Steve, we're going to lift you.
Yeah.
We lift him over and I stay because a lot of times people won't give the history that the doctor should hear. They'll just give the history that they think of.
They want to give,
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of time they will omit the very important thing that the doctor should hear. So I hang out and so the doctor like, so you're diabetic? Yeah. Have you ever had any heart problems? And the guy goes, well, I've been in love.
Yeah, that'll cause some issues.
So Steve, as far as I know, survived. We brought his wife in. They were like, okay, this is important.
Yeah.
He is alive and talking and joking now, but he was not.
Yeah, he was definitely
Yep.
very not, alive and
No.
joking.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, that's crazy.
That's wild.
So I've got a few save stories like that. Another one of the most probably highlight of the career is a 16-year-old who collapsed in a pool,
Oh no.
undiagnosed heart condition, basically died in the pool.
Yeah.
Lifeguards pulled her out when the other swimmer in her lane realized that she wasn't moving. They pulled her out. They started CPR. They shocked her. They got a pulse back. We showed up. We moved her to our gurney. Lost the pulse, which is something that does happen quite frequently.
Yeah.
Shocked again. Got the pulse back. She survived. She's now a lifeguard at that pool.
Whoa.
Some of the lifeguards are now in paramedic school. So by supporting them after the fact, which we did, by going in and saying, like, you did a good job. Here's all the data off of your cardiac monitor.
Yeah.
You guys did great work. We've kind of promoted our job and also helped them in the future.
It's
That's
definitely it's one of the most important jobs, Like when you really think about what keeps this community, like, not BMX skateboarding, but just the community in general alive and well. It's paramedics, man. You guys are some of the first people on the scene, Obviously, like there is so much that you guys have to deal with. It's a very stressful job. You got idiots blocking the lane when you're trying to drive through. Like, I cannot believe it. Half the time I'll see a fucking ambulance and they're like honking, freaking out, like, get out of the fucking way, and people are still like they just don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how often do you deal with that?
Not a lot recently, but
Arm.
I do love the driving aspect of the job.
Yeah.
I just it's my job. I
Yeah.
love it. Like,
There you go.
Get me in there. Like, I like helping people, and I like my job.
Hell yeah.
So if you really break it down, it's helping people with a good friend all day for money.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. So actually we haven't talked about, did we talk about what happened to your shoulder on the show, or was it beforehand?
It was before.
Okay, so why don't you tell us about what happened with your shoulder, because we've been talking about it a little bit, but we haven't actually addressed it yet. I'll pull up a photo on screen for everybody too.
Yeah, so in September, I was supposed to meet up with the Skate Life crew. I phoned them and they said it was raining in Toronto, so from Pickering I went the opposite direction. I went out to Whitby. Skating at McKinney Park in Whitby, having a okay session. I knocked a scooter kid down and kind of had to teach her about park etiquette. But then I was having a decent sesh. One of my favorite tricks is fakie tail stall finger flip disaster. And it took me a couple times, but I got it. And so I'd done it again. I'd done it again after that. Is that the really bad one? No, that's not even the really bad.
Oh, no?
No.
Damn. Okay, well, I'll find the other one. It's on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. I go back for what would have been the fourth time that night, and I landed primo on top of the coping, and I got carcass tossed to the back of my shoulder, and I felt it snap. So I shattered my collarbone, distal third, AC separation. I was lying there in a heap. And everyone's like, oh, I don't know first aid, and I'm lying there like, I'm a paramedic. And then what happened? So then I picked myself up. I'm sitting there in the bowl. I pulled my t-shirt off, fashioned my own sling, but I was in basically a shock state. I thought I was going to pass out, puke, and poop my pants all at the same time.
Jesus, no thanks.
Yeah. So I just sat there until I could figure something out. So it was cold sweats, and the guys are like, "You okay, man?" I'm like, "No, like it's busted, but like I'm really sorry that I'm blocking the ramp."
Oh, here's a good photo of just a crazy like indentation.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is it's not an X-ray, but sorry for you guys watching, but it's very like you can see that there's a huge up and across.
It was worse before, so
yeah.
I don't know if showing photos on the off my phone is any better.
No, absolutely, you can do that. I think this is the photo here, eh?
Yeah.
before you had that attached.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
throw this on the screen, but then you can
Here.
throw it up.
I'll let you go through that.
Yeah. Oh man, that is crazy.
I got to the hospital. I got slinged up. Went and saw my family doctor. He's telling me all about, oh yeah, most of them heal all on their own. And I'm like, do you want to see the X-ray? Okay. And his face just changed when your doctor makes like the face.
Here, do you want to scroll through these for
Yeah.
me? Just show it.
So
That might work.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
That's not
closer.
bad, yeah.
yeah, so that's when I first broke it. And then I had surgery 10 days later, and that's how I've become known as the guy with the shit shoulder.
Jesus, man.
That doesn't
Yeah.
look fun.
No,
Yeah, no
So-
thanks.
that's the divot right after.
Yeah, no thanks.
So I had surgery, everything was going well, and then a couple nights ago I stretched, and I've lost all motion in the arm again, and I was up to about 90% range of motion.
Jesus. Yeah, that's not good. That'll take a little while to heal, probably.
Well, I'm actually having the hardware taken out this Thursday.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah, so I guess you got to me just in time.
Yeah.
Now we'll see what happens after that. Hopefully there's no additional tears or damage, but
Hell yeah. So I actually only have a few more questions for you, and I'll let you know we're doing really good right now. We're actually at just about 3 hours.
oh man, no wonder my wife's
Flies
calling
by. Flies by, eh?
me. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll jump into some fan questions, and then I just have two more for you. So, fan questions. Skate Life Toronto left 3 questions for you. The first one was, what was it like being, or what is it like being a world record holder? So let's clarify your world record here. Scott is a world record holder for most skate parks ridden in a single day. So I'll hold this up for you. So that board has every single park that you went to that day.
So this is the board that I rode that day. So I'd been planning since about January to go out and try and challenge the color record. Color Magazine had gone out with Ryan DeCenzo and Chris Haslam, Mark Appleyard in Vancouver in April of 2012.
Yeah. And this is 2019 January that you started this, right? That
No.
you wanted to? Oh.
Me?
That you wanted to go and beat
Yes.
this.
So yeah, in January I thought about doing it.
Okay.
Based on their work that they'd done in 2012. Their record, they got to 31 parks. I reached out to actual Color Magazine, and the editor got back to me. So it's not recognized by Guinness because you got to drive between the parks. They were given something by recordsetter.com, which I don't think is actually functioning anymore because I submitted and never heard back from them. But I just thought, like, okay, well, let's see what they put stipulations on themselves. So they were creating content for a magazine and a video. Well, I don't have to do that, so I can do lousy tricks because I'm a lousy skater. So I mapped everything out. I calculated, like, I didn't want to hit garbage parks as much as I could. Thanks. So I mapped out a route from pretty much where I live across the city and ending at Milton Community Park because I know it's lit.
Yeah.
It's not only very good, but it has lighting that pretty much doesn't turn off.
Yep.
Tried to match it up with like the equinox. Like when am I going to have the most light that I can do this? When is the moon going to be the fullest? So I planned it all out. We had to move it back a week because of my friend, another Chris Brown. Everybody knows a Chris Brown.
Apparently, eh?
Yeah. So
And none of them have beaten Rihanna. Only one of them did.
shout out most Chris Browns.
Other than that one, he's an asshole.
So got everything kind of organized, had a route, had ideas of what I wanted to do at particular parks. Like I wanted to, because I'm not going to be doing hard flips down the 8 set like Chip Shins did. He was the guest skater at Richmond Hill. Thank him for coming out. But I was going to be doing what I could. So I wanted to kind of feature the park. Like, what can I do on kind of like the highlight feature of each park? So I had my plans, had everything going for me. And then we were doing this on Tuesday. On Sunday night, for some reason I'd missed it, but I was just doing like Google searches and stuff and found a 46 parks in a day video on YouTube.
Oh, no.
So like what is this? So I watched part 1 and 2 of these two guys from Colorado, and they did it. They did 46 parks in a day. Uh, I can't argue that they didn't go to 46 parks. I can argue maybe on the trick selection, but they can argue on what I do too. So they hit 46 parks in a 24-hour period. So now I was like, oh crap, what do I do? I was planning on 38. Like, how can I bump this up to 46? Well, I guess I got to throw in a few more garbage parks. Like, why stop at 46 though? Let's just make it around 50. So planned out the 50. My buddy Chris and Adrian, they slept over at the house. Basically, I got up at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep anymore because I was so nervous and excited and planning and trying to figure out, like, where can I add these extra parks? Because I didn't want to end up in Guelph. But I also didn't want to go through Toronto during a Tuesday rush hour. So the plan was kind of hit a little bit of Toronto, but mostly stay to the surrounding cities. So we woke up at 5. I had my parents' truck, had a cooler full of food. We were ready to go. And the first one we hit was my basement ramp. And then we took off and started just hitting parks. We somehow missed the board slide at the Ajax Park, which was like the second park that we hit.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, I did do a board slide there, and I think I did a rock and roll. So we worked our way out to Bowmanville, which has got a garbage park, and then started working our way back. Got into Ajax, and I don't know if you've ever been to the Ajax Audley Rec Center one.
Yep.
Wanted to make sure that I highlighted the Ajax sculptural feature. Hit that. Got out of there. The next park, I had a line planned, and it was literally, we got out of the car, hit the park, I did this line. We did like a little, it's such and such a time, and we're at such and such a park. Gone.
Yeah.
And that was what most of the day was. So we continued, we got into Toronto, did 2 parks in Toronto, up into Markham, hit every Markham park, including Ray Street, which is just a very little sculptural skate spot. Worked our way across Markham, battled this alley board slide over the culvert, and what did we do? Up to Richmond Hill, where we managed to get to the 25th park just before noon.
Wow.
So that's where Chip Shins met us, and he did this hard flip first try down the 8 set. I don't even know where to go. Had lunch.
Yeah. Did you guys actually, like, you guys had said you brought food with you, eh?
Yeah.
There was no time to make a stop for food.
No, so we did do like a drive-through at one point. Because,
nice.
Like, I had everything down to what time we should be at a park.
Yeah.
But when everything changed from going from 38 to 50, everything else changed, but we were still kind of going by that. It's like, okay, we're doing good here. Okay, there's a Tim's. Pull in. Get some coffee.
The Canadian thing, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So, kept going across the city, made it into Brampton, did most of the Brampton parks. We got to Chinguacousy Park, which I think both of you have been to.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's another big old Spectrum park. It's the one that I tend to go to before work. We pull up and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this there, and there. And in first try, one line.
That's awesome.
Got it. Slid out on the last trick. It's like, back in the car.
Yeah, you gotta get going.
Yeah. So it starts, we're starting to get into a little bit dusk. We go into Georgetown. We hit this Georgetown Modular Park. We hit the old park. We hit their skate spot trail. We go to their brand new park. And I was so, like, I guess I was focused and tired. I just wanted to do my trick. And after 3 attempts, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to knock out the first half of it and do the last one. Found out after we pulled away from the park, it's like, oh yeah, Jordan Bonifacio was there. It's a local pro. Like, I didn't even see anybody.
That's hilarious.
So I think the clip in the video is like, so we've tied for the most parks, and I'm just like, yeah, as I'm looking at my phone. So we went to Acton, which I don't know if you've been, but you gotta go.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Great park.
Yeah.
I love their bowl there.
Yes, so the 3 bowl was for the 3 Musketeers, the memorial for the 3 skaters that were killed for the before the original park that was also named after them. So they did a really good job there of, even though they had to get rid of a park, they put in a way better quality park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the first park. I was really sad that they got
too.
rid of it. Sucks, but what can you do, right?
Yeah.
The new park is definitely a step up if you look at the amount of stuff that there is there.
Yes, and they tried to replicate a few of the features.
Yeah.
So when we got into Vaughan, there was one park that I knew was completed, but I didn't know whether the park it was in was open. So we pull up, and the park is still closed.
Oh,
The
no.
skate park is done, the park is closed, and there's way too many people working on the park to just barge it.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, okay, well, do we stop at 49? Do I do a bike park and call it a skate park?
Right.
So that's how we ended up in Rockwood. So after we did Acton, we just kept going out 7.
Yeah, going out
Yeah.
to Rockmosa.
So we went out to Rockmosa, where I just ollied the gap, and then we took off. Went back into Milton, hit the old Milton Park, and then got to the last park. So it was perfect time. The sun had set, the lights were on, and all I wanted to do was carve over those stairs and call it a day.
Hell yeah.
And that's what happened. So
That's incredible, man. I love the fact that you've got a board right there with
Yeah.
everything on it, you know?
that was the board I rode for the majority of the day. And
That's sick.
Retired it, gave it a little bit of a sanding, and wrote some fun stuff on it.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. I've got my filmer deck here. This is the board that I used to film all of Space Goats. And then, like, at the premiere, we had everybody sign it.
Yep.
Not everybody, but anybody who wanted to. There was way too many people to get to sign it. Like, if I would have had everybody to sign it, there's no fucking way. You wouldn't even be able to see the board.
Yeah.
There was seriously, like, close to at least 100 people there, which is awesome.
So the video is up on YouTube somewhere. It was 50 skate parks
Yep.
in a day. But
Yeah, I watched it last
now,
night.
Now people send me like, oh, this guy out of California put up a thing of like most skate parks in a day. How do you politely say that 25 is not anywhere close
Yeah,
to
it's
the record?
bitch ass. You're like, motherfucker, I did half of that before
Okay.
you even started.
Yeah.
Like, I literally did 50. Come
Like,
on, step your
25
game up.
before lunch. That's
25 before lunch.
Yeah.
Like challenging yourself is fun. Like
oh yeah.
you shouldn't compare challenges.
Yeah,
As long as you're challenging yourself. I reached out to the guy and like, hey, just so you know, Chris Haslam. Like, I'm not even promoting myself.
yeah,
This pro did 31 in a day, and he did it in basically winter.
yeah.
So
So we talked a little bit about this earlier. Do you think it's possible to do more than 50 in a day? Do you think you could do 60?
I think so.
Do you think you could do 75?
I think that would be pushing it.
What if you started at midnight? You
Well,
start literally at midnight
That
till
was the
midnight.
question of what could you do with midnight to midnight, not
Yeah.
caring about content. Like, could you do 100 parks, 100 board slides?
Motherfucker, I could bring my lights with me. Don't you worry. I got lights.
I got my own lights.
All right, just saying. Let me know. We'll make this happen, man. I'll do 100 parks with you. Oh man, that would be awesome, though.
Like, when I did 11, so the day that the Raptors had their like celebration parade, I
Yeah,
went out to like Barrie and up to Collingwood and back, and I did 11 in that day, and people thought that was crazy.
that's hilarious, eh?
Just getting warmed up.
I'm trying to think like the most that we've ever really done in a day. I don't even. I would imagine we probably haven't gotten more than 5 or 6, just because.
I feel bad
Yeah.
dragging people along on like these crazy trips. Like it's fun to have someone to skate with, but I'm so used to doing it solo because of the shift work I'm on
Yep.
Yeah,
that like I can go out and hit 11 parks on my own. But if I bring someone along, like, do they have a timeline? Is there a time they need to be back in Toronto?
yeah. What was the longest amount of time you spent at a park that day? You think?
That day, probably 20 minutes in Markham trying to get that alley-oop board slide.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, eh? It's like you have to be quick. Like you literally have to get in, get out.
Yeah.
Interesting though. Really cool idea.
Oh, that's awesome. That'd be a lot of fun.
If I can do it, someone else could probably do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Just use my map.
Yeah.
There you go.
So then Skate Life Toronto also asked, what's the most memorable surprise for a skate park find? Like a skate park that you found. What was
Oh.
something that really stuck out?
Like that's such a complex because they're not
Yeah.
they're not detailed enough. Okay, so just before my son was born in the summer, I took a 5-day whirlwind trip to Halifax and back. Camped out in the car 2 nights, spent 2 nights in Halifax in a hotel. So when I was driving back, I was driving from St. John, New Brunswick, with the plan of pretty much driving straight from St. John, New Brunswick to Quebec City, hitting the park there, and then driving home from Quebec City.
Wow.
The first town I stopped at, the McDonald's was changing out their grill during the breakfast rush. So like everyone was pissed. I'm just like, screw this. I left.
Yeah.
Drive, like plug in, like where's there a Burger King? So the next town up the highway, probably like 50K. It was Grand Falls, New Brunswick. Plug it in, and I'm following my GPS to the Burger King when I decide I'm going to turn right instead of left because I was kind of at a corner of a community center.
Okay.
And I just decided to go right instead of left to Burger King and pulled around the building, and there's a skate park.
Whoa.
And it was pretty garbage. It looked like the community metal shop had built it for the community. But I found it. So it was like, surprise skate park. So skated it, then got my Burger King, then took pictures of the Grand Falls. So, and then sometime over the last summer, one of the guys from New Line was traveling that route. I'm like, be sure to stop in Grand Falls and check out that awesome park. He's like, that's where I'm going.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Do you have photos of that on your site?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and pull that up.
I'm wondering if they are... So, Skate Life may be asking this question because not last summer, but the summer before, I think they left something in the van. We had to meet up with them. Either way, like, okay, this is where we're heading. And I dropped them the pin. And it was this park that I'd wanted to get to
Is
for a
it
while.
Grand Falls?
Grand Falls in New Brunswick, so it's towards the bottom of...
There we go. I don't know why I thought it was in Ontario.
No.
Like, it's not.
So, the way that they describe it is, when you're looking for skate parks with Scott, you could be driving down this country road for miles with nothing but farm fields, and then bam, there you are at a skate park.
Yeah. Look at this.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah, and the 14-foot kicker, there it is on the...
Oh my god.
Yeah, the 1 foot high, 14-foot long kicker.
That's incredible.
That's,
You know what though? I actually really like this thing. Like if it didn't have a crazy rail on the top of it, I bet that'd be hella fun.
No deck, no coping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a interesting feature.
Yes.
That looks like
yeah.
something that we would have built as kids.
So-
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of weird finds, in the last episode I heard you talking about a skate park with a kind of a flyout bowl in Durham.
Yes.
In the town of Durham, Ontario, I have always been Google mapping where is this skate
You've
park.
never seen it.
And because I live in the region of Durham, it is so hard to search skate parks for the town of Durham.
Okay.
So
Let me
finally
see if I can find this.
I looked at the Google image till my eyes bled, and I think, is it a bowl in behind the community center?
Yes.
And the Google image is so horrible that you can't really tell it's a bowl.
Probably. Yeah. It's not like a bowl at all. Like
Yeah.
it's so weird. Have you ever seen it?
I don't think so, no.
All right. Let me see if I can find something about it. I know this dude has some clips on
Yeah,
it.
unless you have some like personal photos, I have not been able to find anything. So one of the other weird ones that I found was out by Sarnia. I had discovered Walpole Island, which is another First Nations territory. I don't know if you know this one.
No.
No, Walpole Island, I think it's an old New Line, but it's very hard to find any information on it. Nice park. It's got a big 3-block. It's got all the typical park stuff. A little older, but it's not dated.
Okay.
So decided to go out there, and as I was looking in other towns, I'm like, where else are there parks? And I just started zooming in on the next community to the north. Kept zooming in. Like, oh, there's the baseball diamond. Zoom in a little bit more. Oh, there's a square patch of concrete. Zoom in a little bit more. That could be a skate park. Can't find anything about it. We show up there. It was the most ridiculous park. Like, 45-degree banks. The flat rail was aluminum and at least 2 feet high. There was a spine that was just made out of like 2 culverts. Like chopped culverts back to back. So they were 3 feet high, came to vert, at least like 10 inches across the top.
Oh, man.
So I found a video of it, but it's so blurry that you can't even tell what it is. So maybe if I look this up, it might be on this one. This is a different video. So let me see if I can find it on this.
Wait, let me see if I can name that park. I'm going to go with Owen Sound.
Yes, it
My
was.
wedgie.
So let me see if, let's see here. I don't know if it's in this video as well, but I assume because he's from that area, we might be able to find it.
Do just since you mentioned Owen Sound, so I'm pretty sure you've been to Shallow Lake then.
No, Shallow Lake's on my to-do list.
That my girlfriend has family up there. I was actually there in the summer. They have a little pump track. It's a concrete pump track that kind of it's L shapes, bunch of berms. It's about like I don't know 24 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
It is the like I've never seen a feature like that at a skate park before because it's all prefab there.
Yeah.
Awesome little thing. It's so much fun to rip around on. They've got a little half pipe there with a spine. The rest of the park is kind of average, but it's a fun little spot to check out for a little bit.
Yeah, you can't even see any photo. Like, there's no way that you could see what this is. I'll pull it up on screen for you guys. But, like, it's literally a big round section here with two hips and then another little round section and a little round section there. You can't even tell what it is, like, looking at this.
I've been trying to figure out if there's a park in that area for years.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like, I can't see it on here. There is definitely, I've been there before. Let me see if I can try and pull it up on Google. I doubt it.
No.
Like, it's probably not on there.
I know that would sound cocky. If I haven't found anything on it, there's nothing.
I get that. Oh, what is that town close to Durham?
Is that the one that Eric always talks about?
Durham Park? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see, there's all the skate parks in the region of Durham.
Yeah. Well, because Durham is a different thing.
Yeah. Or you get Durham, South Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, such a commonly used thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking through here quickly, and I don't see anything even close. Yeah, it's really cool. You got to check it out. It's very interesting. Caleb, thank you for joining the stream. How's it going, dude? We're 3 hours in. You're fucking late. What the hell, man? Yeah, so let's we got one more fan question here, and then I got two more for you after that. What do you think needs to change in the city park planning process? This is from Skate Life Toronto.
Of course it is. Guys, thanks for watching.
Hell yeah.
It's just the whole idea of action sports needs to be part of the overall Parks and Rec plan. I think you go anywhere, there's basketball courts, there's tennis courts, there's everything, but if you don't have a skate park, then kids who would want one are just going to use some kind of other city facility, city hall, stairs.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have that animosity between city staff and the skaters when really you should have been planning that anyway. Like, you don't go into any town and not find a playground.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, you know? It's an important feature that I think a lot of people need to start realizing.
Yeah.
Especially with the publicity and the hype for skateboarding and BMX, you know, being in the Olympics and whatnot. Like, it's going to be bigger.
We'll definitely see a big change in the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah. And as far as, like, cost, people like, oh, that skate park, $40 a foot. That's not expensive when you compare it to multi-million-dollar sport courts like
that
soccer.
Need to be maintained constantly,
Right.
that have staff.
Once a skate park is in, the cost of maintenance is
pretty much zero.
The cost to pick up the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as, I mean, you don't build a shitty park that you have to rip the bowl out of,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I never even got to ride that bowl at its best.
Yeah, I know. It was honestly, it was very good for skaters for the first 3 years that it was around. And then it started to kind of collapse on itself. It was really good for bikes at that point.
I really wanted to hit the hot tub.
Yeah, they ripped that out.
They ripped that out.
Well, I mean, what kind of fucking idiot doesn't put a
drain.
drain right there?
Well, I think it started off that it would drain out of that area, but due to the sinking,
Yeah.
it ended up into that area.
Fair.
It was that was pretty nasty for a long time. Like, you'd never go there and not have a giant pool of water that very questionable what was in there.
Oh, absolutely. There was guaranteed, like, I knew kids that pissed in there. I fucking found condoms in there, like anything. Just so gross. Yeah, that's Mount Trashmore for you, though.
Yeah.
Definitely need
I
it.
guess it's in the name.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm terrible with this fucking thing. I need to start like switching the cameras more. I just keep getting sidetracked. Like it's just a
Right.
video of Scott for 12 minutes.
Oh
Just
God, no.
yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Oh man. Yeah, so I've got two more questions for you, Scott. What are your plans for 2020? Any new skate parks in mind?
So I've been doing a lot of planning because I've been sitting on my ass a lot. But until the shoulder is back to the function it was last week, I can't really even think about what I'm gonna do. So kind of bummed out about that. But it will change.
One
Look at
day.
that.
There you go. Almost. Oh man. Last question. Can you give some advice to kids who are in need of a skate park in town or city? What is the best way to go about getting the ball rolling? I know we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but
Yeah. So the advocacy, knowing what you're doing before you go and talking to council. Sorry, Amy. Uh, um, just using all the resources. Reach out to city planners, city architecture people. Like they can give you information, and people need to remember that city staff work for us.
Yes.
Like it always seems like, ooh, I'm asking the mayor for something. We elected the mayor. If the mayor is not working for the city, then does he really belong in that position?
that's a good point. That's a really, really good point, actually.
Yeah.
Because it is very, at the Fisher Hallman one where we, like, you were there as well. The mayor actually showed up to, I don't know all three of them, but I know he did show up to at least one of the, like, things. And I remember Travis just being like, that's very good that he actually showed up to that. It's something that's important and, like, it shows. So, yeah, I think that's, you know, you've got to go and really, I don't know, what's the best way to put it? I guess, yeah, you can talk about it all you want, but unless you're actually going to go out there and make the movement to get it done, is it really going to happen?
Yeah, you have to be persistent.
Yeah.
So Alec Beck, I took this quote and he didn't remember he said it, but I had to be an asshole because someone had to be.
Yeah, no, I can get that.
You may have to pester them a few times. Like I know I've sent multiple emails before I get something back from city staff, and like they also have stuff on their plate. They're not just focusing on a skate park. They're focusing on running a city. They've also got a personal life. So sometimes you have to take that into account.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, I can definitely get behind that. There's a lot. I think that kids need to get out and really push for new parks,
Yeah.
Because
Be
unless
involved. There's probably someone who's already more involved than you who would love it if you could show up
absolutely,
and
Of course.
something.
yeah, whenever I do jams, it means so much to me that even 10 people show up, let alone 50 or 60 people. Like, yeah.
This summer, the community association that I'm a part of, we stepped up and provided a free barbecue at one of the two Pickering skateboard competitions, just to bridge that. Like, our community group is behind skateboarding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, it's very important that I think that because for one, you're already giving back to the community. Two, somebody's going to see what you're doing, and it may not be, the next year, the year after, but somebody's going to pick up where you left off eventually, and they'll start doing that as well. So I think that the more that you put in, the better the community is. I think that's just with BMX and skate in general, Come into it with a positive attitude, put some effort into it, and it'll give back,
Yeah.
Like I'm on episode 36 now, and the listens that I've been getting are insane. Oh, fuck. Every time.
Making
Every
intense
fucking
eye
time. Oh, man. Sorry for anybody watching. I know. I literally spent like $300 on this fucking box just to be able to do all that. And like,
Go back and forth.
yeah, I need to get better at it. Anyways, yeah, put effort into it. Really push for it because the community only gets better with your input,
Yeah.
So, hell yeah. Living proof, right? You've got over 1,000 skate parks logged. Fucking people use your site. People respect what you've done.
And that's the thing, the more you put into it, the more people you meet. So like I've met you two today through that. If I may give a few shout outs to some friends.
Absolutely.
So one of the first big comments on my big skate park page was this dude Kurt. Never met him before, never heard of him. He's like, Yeah, me and my friends, BMX and skateboarders, we get together. We do a week-long road trip, and your blog has been outstanding. So with that, met him. We're now buds. If I need to go out to Ottawa, like, I got a friend.
Hell
if,
yeah.
If he's out here, he's got a friend. And then, like, listening to skateboard, and I'm like, reach out to the people you think are inaccessible, because it will surprise you. The same with when I reached out to Jim of Spectrum. I didn't expect an email back. Now me and him, we email a couple times a year. We're on like first name basis. Same with the people from New Line. I reached out to this other skate park podcast called Skatosis. So another shout out.
Hell yeah.
There's 2 guys out of Wisconsin doing this, and they're up at 150 episodes. They're totally chill. They're like, yeah, dude, if you ever want to come out, like, it's Wisconsin, but that's only a 16-hour drive.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's doable.
Fair enough. Hell yeah, man. Well, Scott, I want to thank you for joining us today. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
We're at 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah,
That's
why my wife's calling.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Nathan, thank you for joining and co-hosting this.
I'm glad I finally got to make it out for one of your podcasts, Cam, and this is definitely it's been a great opportunity for me.
Can I give
Hell
a
yeah.
suggestion of have him
Absolutely.
as the pure guest sometime?
Oh, maybe. There you go. We're actually going to do a podcast soon with the whole Space Goats crew. It's in 2 weeks from now, so make sure you guys are here for that. There's going to be, potentially a keg in the middle of my room here, and we're going to drink it and
Kegs
have
and
some
bunnies.
beer. Yeah, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you guys show up for that. Yeah, Scott, thank you so much. We'll definitely do this again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody that was watching today, again, thank you. Have a good one, guys. Peace.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.